Today, a leftist anti-ICE extremist firebombed a federal building in Manhattan, dumping what appears to be a bucket full of gasoline with smaller bottles of gas, presumably onto these stairs in front of the building, setting it on fire before lobbing mortars into the flames. There were 2 injuries reported. They quickly subdued this individual. It's being reported that he was an anti-government extremist or known to have anti-ICE sentiments in the past. So, of course, there are many people worried about potential for escalation. But what we heard from Mark Wayne Mullen, Secretary of DHS, as well as Trump, is that they will be taking action against states as it pertains to elections. We're hoping that Todd Blanche, who has been pretty decisive since he became AG, are going to take actions against these individuals. And of course, we watched this dude get arrested, and there was a video of him doing all of it. It's pretty dang crazy. We're going to talk about that. We got this is a big one, my friends. I'm going to build up some suspense. Bill Maher says he might actually vote Republican. Bill Maher, we got him, boys. It's been a minute, but Bill's finally coming around, and he said the Democrats are communists. They say it's just socialism, but he's hearing what they're saying, and he's not going to vote for these communists. So he is considering voting for J.D. Vance. One of the principal reasons Trump's not going to be running. And he says, since Trump is out, I'll consider voting for Vance. I'm willing to bet Bill Maher votes Republican in 2028. I'm willing to make a gentleman's bet on that one. And, I'd actually love to sit down with him in a couple of years, maybe in a year and a half, see where he's at following these midterms. We've got clips of these DSA types. And more importantly, as it pertains to what Bill Maher is saying, when you take a look at Maine, Ashley Webb, I'm not trying to be mean to Ashley Webb, but this is a biological man who claims to have, I got to be careful I say this because right at the top of the show, I try not to get the, graphic or anything like that. Medical issues pertaining to one's backside because they think they're a woman with no front side. And this is an individual who is a potential nominee for the Democratic Party to win in Maine, for which the prediction markets say the Democrat is likely to win in Maine. I don't think it's even about communism, Bill. You take a look at some of these people, it's a question of sanity. So we'll talk about that and a lot more. Before we get started, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Tax Network USA. Head over to tnusa.com/Tim. Do y'all own back taxes? Owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Have you filed every year, but you still keep owing? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you did not expect? Maybe you put your money in your 401k or you pulled money from your 401k early and now the IRS wants its share. Whatever your issue is or however it started, the outcome's the same. Your balance is not going down, penalties are growing, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again for this upcoming tax year with no plan. Stop what you're doing now and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. They're enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in with over 15 years in business. There hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or resolved. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt, and they can do the same for you. But you got to call now. They're offering a free investigation call with the IRS. After that investigation, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem and get you back on track. It's about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. So don't wait. Call 866-686-1535. That's 866-686-1535 or visit tnusa.com/Tim. Don't forget to also go to timcast.com, click join now, get in the Discord community. There's tens of thousands of people hanging out every single day. They got morning shows. They got afternoon shows. We've got a call-in hangout every day at 6 p.m. and an after show. You can call in to Timcast IRL through the Discord Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Support the work that we are doing here by joining us at timcast.com. And don't forget to smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got Ben Berkwam.
What's going on, brother?
Who are you? What do you do?
I'm a communist hunter, I should say, or a confronter.
Anti-communist revolutionary.
Yeah, that's rather than the revolutionary communist. I'm a guy that got fed up with how things were going in California about 10 years ago, got set free from crack addiction and put my life back on God's track, and I've spent the last 9 years covering the illegal invasion of America, 4 years of that under Biden. Do a show on Real America's Voice called Law and Border, work with Steve Bannon and some great guys over there, and travel the country and it's expose the left. God, family, and country has been my foundation for years, and it's really just about saving the country for my kids' generation. And right now, I've got my first book, Step Into Fear, coming out that will be actually launching through War Room Books on September 8th, and I'll be doing a book tour on that. But riding with ICE and Border Patrol across the country, spent 4 years exposing the invasion of Joe Biden, now spending 4 years with President Trump, ICE, Tom Homan, and Border Patrol exposing the traitors within, like the jackass who set the fire today.
Oh, yeah,
If that's a word I can say on
we've
here.
We've got some information on this
jerk,
individual.
The not good guy.
Right on.
Who did that. So,
well, it should be great. It's good to have you.
Honored to be with you, brother.
We got the boys.
Yeah, what's going on, Patriots? Tate Brown holding it down. I have to give a special shout out. It's my parents' 30th anniversary this week. So I'm sure they're watching. Patriot mom, Patriot dad. So I don't know if you guys have any marriage advice, DM me, and then I'll text it to them, and then I'll relay what they say. So love you guys.
Marriage advice is don't get divorced if you want your marriage to last.
That's seemingly one of the big ones. Yeah,
I'll just take my advice from your parents. Congrats, Tate's parents.
Cheers.
Right.
I'm Phil Labonte, lead singer of heavy metal band All That Remains. What's up, Carter?
What's up, dude? I'm Carter Banks. Let's get into it.
Here's a story from ABC News. Anti-government extremist sets off incendiary device outside federal building in New York. FBI. Andrew Arabaka, 43, is a former soldier who served from 2001 to 2005. Now, I love that they're calling this person an anti-government extremist because it's pretty apparent this individual is a leftist, anti-ICE. We have this video. Matt Van Swole posted it saying, I've seen enough. These people hate America. They want to destroy our country. This was obviously a terrorist attack, and this man should have a speedy trial and then immediately be executed. This post has 2.6 million views and counting. This is terrifying. The reason I highlight this is, guys, I'm going to say it. I said it before. I'll say it again. I don't want anybody to die. We have a very serious challenge when this individual, I believe, has a bucket. It appears to be a bucket full of gasoline with smaller bottles that I believe are full of fuel. What this does is when you set off the fuel, it takes a while for the bottles to heat up, but then they explode. First from the pressure, and then they go off like mini Molotovs. We have this video. I'm going to play this for you now. Guys, this happened in New York this morning. You can see the individual in question dumping this on the stairs. You see these bottles. Yeah. I'm assuming those are bottles of fuel, but I'm not entirely sure. And then just immolates the front of the building. Now, this video actually cuts, but the person in question grabs mortars, runs back over, and begins throwing them. You can see the police are now running up. Someone appears to have dropped a bag and a drink.
Almost looked like another bucket.
Oh, I think this might be the full video with the mortar. There it is. Yeah, actually, you can see the mortar. Wow. Watch this.
Wow.
It's going to blow up. And then they get tackled. That mortar took a while to take off. Oh, okay. Someone else filmed the mortar, it seems. It is wild.
Whoa.
Those are some baggy pants, man.
Yep.
Yeah, not the best pants to wear if you're going to.
So actually, let's go back to this spot right here. You can see the individual running up, and they throw something into the fire. There's actually another video filmed from another window just over, and you can see that it's a mortar. Now, here's what's crazy. The initial reporting from NBC was that fireworks went off. Fireworks.
Of course.
And then ABC, or I believe it was ABC, reported initially it was smoke bomb let off. And it was because the fire extinguisher let off steam. They were calling it this is irresponsible and insane, because at the time they published these articles, I had already seen the full video that had been published. Right. Any one of these reporters could have tracked that this guy was trying to cause massive damage. And you got to understand, this is, I call this a low grade terror because he didn't come up with C4 or a machine gun, but fire is extremely dangerous and damaging. A child understands this. Dumping fuel. So you can actually see he gets himself, his feet are on fire. And then as he runs away, the fire goes out. But if that spread into the bushes, that could have been extremely difficult to put out. Now, I don't think he was going to be able to actually set fire to a steel and concrete building. That's why those bottles are in the bucket. I'm assuming those are full of fuel as well, intending for secondary explosions after the fact.
Yeah, my big concern on that, it's just like the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You have one person that does that, and then you've got these nuts across America now that have been incentivized to do this by the radical left, by these activist organizations against ICE, against whatever. And you've got mainstream media that covers it up. And that's, you got one of these guys that does this. Okay, you put it out, you get it under control. But if you have 20 of these guys doing it, 20 different locations across a city, that's what we're heading towards if we don't get this under control.
So just this past, I think it was on Friday, Secretary Rubio gave a speech or whatever. I think Miller was there as well, but he outlined a lot of the problems that the West has been facing from far left radicals. And to your point, like, the media has been almost complicit in this because they do everything they can to downplay it. They do everything they can to minimize it. And yet over and over and over, we see terror attacks and murders by leftists. And there's very rarely any kind of narrative that comes from the media that actually articulates what's really going on. There are people that are starting to see it. I mean, to Tim's point earlier, Tim was talking about Bill Maher. He sees that there are communists on the left. You hear the DSA, the way they speak, they're clear and open about their goals. And they are revolutionaries. Even though these people are running for office, and some of them are attaining office, there are actual revolutionaries on the ground that want to completely get rid of the government as we know it, right? Like, one of the things that you hear them talk about is to abolish the Senate. Well, the Senate is one of the only things in the Constitution that can't be abolished with an amendment. You'd have to get rid of the whole Constitution. And that's the goal of the left, is to actually destroy the country as we know it and change the entire makeup of our government. And it's something that we need more people talking openly about and pointing the finger. And we need people, at least on the right wing, that are clear and open about what's actually happening. And you do see it. You see the administration talking about it. The White House is tweeting about it. Like I said, Secretary Rubio had a speech about it. So it's good to see that the government is naming what's actually going on. And it's going to take a while for people to actually realize exactly how dire the circumstances are.
Well, yeah, and then you also have just I've said it on the show before. You just have a high concentration of people with absolutely nothing to lose in this country, and that's really the scariest part ultimately, because it's one thing to have this radical ideology. You see a lot of these DSA types, and they typically their activism just manifests in political action or demonstrations, etc. But you have a large proportion of people that literally have nothing to lose. So as soon as they pick up those talking points, they get violent immediately, and that's what's so worrying. And I can't say I necessarily disagree with Matt Van Swol, I think that's how you say his name, his copy that he put on that tweet, because that guy was fully intending on killing a ton of people. He was fully intending on that terrorist attack actually manifesting, it being much worse than it ended up being. Thankfully, the guy is incompetent, mentally unstable, so he probably couldn't pull it off. But who's to say that the next guy, to your point, won't pull that off? And yeah, you got to drop the hammer on this guy, because again, he forfeited his life when he did that. I'm sorry, people get really skittish about, the death penalty and this, that, and the other, but these are certain instances where it's not just like, a murder, as bad as that is. This is quite literally an attempted terrorist attack on the federal government. I'm sorry, you forfeited your life. You're done. I don't trust that if you spend 30 years in the slammer and you come back out, you're not going to go and do the same thing. You've already demonstrated you were a complete drain on society, mentally unstable. You're done.
I mean, like, I agree with you. But the point of incarceration is not to rehabilitate. It is to remove people from society.
Correct.
If you cannot be in society and behave like a normal person, and if you're engaging in revolutionary violence, you're not a normal person.
So just to clarify, the death. This is 18 USC 111. It actually does 18 USC 1114. And 18 U.S.C. 2332B, all of the laws pertaining to attacks on federal law enforcement, particularly with use of terror, do carry a potential for death penalty.
Yeah. Good. And what do you?
But that being said, I don't think starting a fire is going to rise to that level. The interesting thing is, I believe it's up to 20 years in prison. I'm sorry, I'm completely wrong. this the use of a deadly weapon in and of itself is can be punished by the death penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually I did not expect
Because
that.
like
the mortars.
I'm sure the guy who hates the government enough to attack them with a firebomb will cool down after spending 20 years in prison. I'm sure that'll de-radicalize him. No, he'll be like more fired up when he gets
But
out.
the problem is he won't spend 20 years, and he'll spend only until the next administration
So-
when he gets pardoned. Because I mean, Bill Clinton, who was what people consider a quote unquote normal Democrat, he was pardoned. He pardoned the people that bombed the Congress.
I'm going to clarify. I think it's actually wrong. I think the use of an incendiary device or bomb is punishable by life in prison or the death penalty if a fatality occurs. So considering there are only a couple of minor injuries, I don't think this is going to rise to that level. However, it does look like the use of the deadly weapon will incur a maximum of 20 years in prison. This guy is going to get 20 years. It's going to be the maximum. And potentially, this could result in multiple instances, according to United States Code. It could be act of terror. It could be an act of terrorism, which is 18 USC 2332B, and it could also be destruction of government property and assault on federal officers, multiple for the officers who were there that had to deal with that. In fact, a couple of officers ran out with their guns drawn in this video. I think this dude might get multiple charges.
He's lucky he didn't get shot. I mean,
well, it's because they subdued him right away.
But this is the bigger thing, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. And until we start seeing massive prosecutions against the organizations that are all behind this, the communist organizations that want to totally destroy our country, that Bill Maher's finally waking up to, it's that's what we, and I'd say that's what MAGA's waiting for, is mass prosecutions. We want mass deportations and mass prosecutions.
They have to be successful, because the point is, right, it can't just be that there's some lawfare against them. If you can use lawfare against normal people and change their behavior, because they're like, oh man, I don't want to deal with this. There's the phrase, the punishment, or the process is the punishment, right? That works for normal people. People like that who have nothing to lose, who are being funded by or who are getting their defense by the National Lawyers Guild, who are being funded by NGOs or leftist organizations, they have nothing to lose. So it's not just about prosecuting. You have to put them in jail for a long time or forever.
There's actually more charges. I'm digging this up as we go. 18 USC 844, which because of the minor injury sustained could result in a penalty of 7 to 40 years as well. So it looks like this dude is potentially facing like 5 or 6 different charges, in which case he's probably getting life in prison for this.
That's the best solution.
Yeah. Otherwise, he's another martyr, a hero for the left, which he will be anyways, just because he did that. I mean, that's the crazy thing now.
But to your point, it is better for them to go to jail than to be put to death. I think put in jail forever, because then they don't have the martyr. Then they're a political prisoner, and it's not the same as when they're what?
The island.
I love the idea of sending them to Australia.
New York has
we already
one.
have Guantanamo.
Yeah, Rikers.
We have Guantanamo too.
I mean, look, I think
New York has what's
Rikers.
Is it Rikers? Yeah,
Rikers Island. It's perfect. It's like and it was de Blasio was trying to like break it up and get rid of it. And it's like, dude, this is like what every city dreams of, is having an island just for criminals, and you can just like forget about them. You see it on the approach from LaGuardia, and you're like, oh, geez, we'll try not to look that way. Like, that's all that really happens there. I'm like, they could just, there's a little bridge, blow that up and just leave them there.
Turn the lights back on at Alcatraz.
That's right.
Yeah,
I was just thinking
Alcatraz
Alcatraz is perfect.
They were like, oh, too many prisoners were dying. Like, that's not the point.
And
Trying to escape, right?
And you're feeding sharks. They won't eat me now. They're full.
I think you make a mini series on Alcatraz and see, if you can get it free, if you can get across, you got it. You're set.
I'm not. Wait, are you saying if you can get off of Alcatraz?
Yeah.
Hey, how about who wants to read? Here, Tate, read this headline.
Add some more sharks.
Read this
and
NBC
get
headline.
off.
Army veteran ignites fire, sets off fireworks outside New York City federal building. FBI says.
Yeah.
That is not at all what has been described as happening. He dumped.
Spanish. He was
he's an army veteran. He just lit a little fire.
You
And
saw his surname. He's Spanish. He's celebrating
That's
the
right.
Spain World Cup
Caliente.
victory.
That might have been it. It might have been the World Cup.
Yeah, he was very excited.
Yeah.
sets fire.
Busted and
Pretty sure when you dump a bucket of fuel, light it up, and then throw explosives into it, they're not setting a fire and lighting off fireworks.
Yeah,
that is minimizing.
Did he
what we-
bring the bucket full of fuel in his vehicle, or did he pour
like he was
fuel
carrying it, I
into
don't
the
know.
bucket?
Probably went to a gas station and just filled it
How
up.
did all this
It
happen?
It looked like he had bottled up fuel in like tiny Coke bottles.
the thing was huge with the police just like, oh wow, his car must be really empty. It's like they
Nobody. I mean, look, you're walking down the street carrying a bucket of gas. No one's gonna know it's gas.
It's like in a big red can.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
No, it's not.
You're
It was
right,
an orange.
that's
It was an
true.
orange bucket.
It's an orange bucket. There's a lot of
Five-gallon
crazies in New York.
And you might smell it, but you don't know what you're smelling. It's New York.
True.
New York
That's a
smells like
great
sour
point.
milk.
Yeah, it's a great
And
point.
upgrading.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
an
It
upgrade.
might actually help the
Smells
smell.
great, especially when it's high. Gas prices are high. Gas smells even better.
What was that joke? There was a joke on Rick and Morty where I think it was Summer, and she's like, "This place smells like gas, and at first I liked it, but I'm getting lightheaded."
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
notice
yeah.
that when gas prices are high, the gas stations don't smell like gas because everyone's making sure they get every drop in there. When gas is low, you're just letting it fly.
Yeah, they're having gas fights like in Zoolander.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheap people.
Classic movie.
But yeah, look, the fact that this guy was picked up, like, it's a good thing, but they need to do more. They need to do a lot more. Like, there was a thing on the Post Millennial today. And, reports that the State Department had links to Antifa's lawyers or the State Department links to Antifa's lawyers to decades of Cuban communist influence. The National Lawyers Guild, they're just as down with Antifa as any of the podcasters are that are bread tubers, if they still call it bread tube or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, they have free defense, and they use the system that they want to destroy against the American people.
Is bread tube a reference to breadlines?
I'm not sure. I don't know, to be honest with you, where it came from. And I'm not sure if,
Let's jump to this story. We've got this from Fox News. Bill Maher admits he could vote for J.D. Vance. Warns cowardly Democrats face socialist takeover. Let's roll tape.
Democrats will do very well in the midterms. 2028 is a different story because by then, this wing of the party, this new wing with all the energy, and it's not just a few people anymore. Every day I read about a new person in some Colorado and Wisconsin, somebody who is saying some variation of not defund the police, abolish the police. No prisons, no police. Like, what world do they think we could possibly live in under these conditions? There's just a level of nutty that I'm so glad that whenever it was, I was like, no, I'm not going along because this is where it ends.
Could you see yourself voting for J.D. Vance?
Yes. If this is the Democratic side, yes.
There it is.
Big time.
Yeah.
We got him, boys. We got him. Look, I paid attention to the news the whole time. So, Obama, Trump versus Hillary. I didn't vote for Trump or Hillary. I was not interested. I said, these people are all crazy. Then I watched what happened over 4 years, and I said, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump. I didn't want to. At first, I was supporting Yang and Tulsi, and then they put up Joe Biden. And I said, that's not happening. I know exactly what Biden's going to represent, what he's going to be. So I voted for Trump, and it was around this time in the 2010s where Bill Maher seemed to have stopped paying attention to the news. And what I said about him was that he's got a team that does the news for him, shows up, they say, here's the news. He says, okay, he's not really paying attention anymore. And that's why he did not know what was happening with weird woke stuff. Well, in the past several years, Bill Maher has been paying attention and calling all of this woke stuff out and the socialism. And he's coming back. He's coming back to his roots. And he is now entering a position that many of us experienced 6 years ago. Hey, better late than never. I got no beef. I'm a big fan. He's now saying, I can't believe what Democrats have turned into. I'm out. And many of us have experienced this. This is good news because the Democrats are going to lose their coalition over this. And they're going to be a bunch of wacky socialists with weird views saying, point of personal privilege, my pronouns are she, they. And regular people are going to be like, I'm out. And that's what we've been seeing. This actually, I think, Bill Maher thinks Democrats are going to do well in these midterms. And the prediction markets say it. It seems likely, but I'm not convinced it's a done deal. I think Republicans still have a chance to turn this around, particularly on the procedural efforts. One, Trump got that win over universal mail-in votes. They're going to allow the post office. What is it? There's going to be a barcode or something determining citizenship status or something to that effect. And then, of course, you have, as I mentioned, the redistricting efforts. So this is a major victory for the right on procedure, which may help Republicans actually hold the House.
The Democrats and the Democrat Party now is turning into like the Bolsheviks versus the Mensheviks, right? Like the DSA types are like the Bolsheviks. They're not a majority, but they have a lot of energy. And the average Democrats that are saying, well, we can work with them, we can bring them into the fold, et cetera, they're going to get swamped. They're going to get absolutely annihilated by the extreme left wing of the Democrat Party. People have been talking about it and saying, look, there's a lot of communists that are actually in the Democrat Party. There's a lot of communists that are winning local elections, smaller elections. And this is something that's materializing now. Like, people in the Democrats really need to wake up and realize that they're on the chopping block too. The far left has a saying, liberals get the bullet too. And they go after the normal Democrats just as viciously as they go after anyone on the right wing, because they'll say things like scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds, all that stuff. They look at anyone that's not as extreme as they are as just another fascist or whatever the word is.
Look at Hassan Piker's speech this last weekend. I mean, it's like exactly that.
He's praising Mao.
Yeah, I mean, they're not hiding it anymore.
Yep.
And it's that coalition of jihadism. It's the red-green jihadism and communism. And to your point, unless we actually prosecute these guys, the attorneys guilds and all this, that's why I say it's got to be a RICO case.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've all got to go down.
Agree with you totally.
Otherwise, we're screwed as a nation.
Yeah, it has to be RICO case. They all have to go to prison for a long, long time.
As far as the Democrat divide, I saw an interesting take from Sarnovich today on Twitter where he was saying that Rahm Emanuel is who he suspects may end up winning a primary.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he was making a few different cases for why, but one of the main ones is actually sort of compelling, is that if the Democrat primary becomes all about Israel, Rahm Emanuel can take the position of like, well, Netanyahu is a troublemaker, but like, we have to stand with Israel. That's going to concentrate a lot of capital around him, a lot of like sort of that older Democrat base, because a Democrat primary for president is not the same as a district in New York City.
They don't usually happen.
It's gonna true, and it's gonna be like black voters up first. That's usually how it goes. So it's like someone like Rahm or potentially Kamala will pick up a lot of the energy, but Kamala might just be sacrificing the kind of establishment wing because she was courting Zoran and sort of picking up some different progressive talking points. And
she has Marxists in her family. And I don't think she's actually particularly smart, so she doesn't have the natural aversion.
Nobody likes her.
Yeah, well, that's true.
At least Emanuel's likable.
Yeah.
Well,
but she doesn't have the natural aversion to the far left because she was raised around it. So she thinks that she can work with these people. And again, she's not smart enough to realize how dangerous they are.
No, the issue is that the Democrats, when Trump won, became desperate. And in their desperation, they turned to a group of people that they did not quite understand. So they have brought in the crazy, thinking that it's going to benefit them. But it's like the One Ring. You cannot wield this power. No one can. And so that's two movie references in one political statement. So I worked really hard for that.
I was at the Democrat convention this last year, and it was wild. I mean, you go inside it, and it's a bunch of lunatics that don't know what gender they are. And they actually had the mixed gender bathrooms. That was wild. I'm not even getting into details on that, but we'll do that in the second half, where the no holds barred. But the crazy thing was the actual base of the Democrat Party was outside of the DNC, outside wanting to burn it down. Yeah, and that's who's really running the Democrat Party. It's the communists that were outside the fence that are really pulling the strings on what was going on inside.
It was wild. This was 2016. Yeah, they had the DNC and the RNC. The RNC had almost no protests, and we all showed up thinking like RNC is going to have big protests, and then the DNC had all of them, and they were trying to tear the barricades down, and they were screaming. There were thousands of people. They took over.
Yeah.
The Republicans, Trump just came in. He knocked that door down like a bull.
Well, and that's what made Cernovich's tweet kind of jump out to me, because like I hadn't really thought about that, but I'm like, what if someone runs that really becomes the referendum on Obama? As in, how much influence does Obama still have the party? What do the current Democrat base think about Obama? I mean, you need someone out there like that. That's kind of a heat check on like, where's Obama's stance? Because if it's like, I don't know, just hypothetically a Kamala versus Rahm Emanuel race, I mean, that becomes, is Obama still the head honcho around here, or is it truly the DSA party now? I mean, that's ultimately what it would come down to. Because again, if Zoran is the House intellectual for Kamala, that tells you where the party's at. And from there, they'll get smacked in a primary or in a general, but that's neither here nor there.
There's so many quote unquote normal Democrats that are simping for Zoran right now. I don't think that they have the ability to take the party to the center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've lost that. I think the last election was the last time.
I mean, look at how
it taken away from them.
Yeah.
Given to Kamala.
Look at how many normal Democrats were like, you know what? I guess I'm going to vote for Trump because I don't like this or I don't like that. There's a lot of people that went from voting for Bernie and then they went to Trump. and there's just not a lot of energy in the center left at all. It's all on the far left.
And also, like, I think the DSA is kind of in this moment that Trump was in not too long ago.
Yep.
As far as previously, Trump and the GOP had a bunch of reluctant allies. So it was people that hated his guts, wanted him gone, but they would like pay lip service and go on Fox and be like, President Trump's doing a great job. But then as soon as they smelled blood in the water and DeSantis ran, they all turned their knives on him. He was bleeding allies. To Charlie Kirk's massive credit, and he never gets enough credit for this, is he was like one of the only main figures that was like, nope, Trump's still our guy. Like, I don't care what DeSantis, he's a great governor, thank you for your service, but like, we're sticking with Trump. So fair play to him, obviously. But in addition to that, like the DSA, I think, is kind of in this moment now where it's turning from reluctant allies to a lot of these establishment Democrats are just like, all right, I guess the DSA may just be in the driver's seat and we just got to play ball. And it is what it is.
The thing about DeSantis is that he launched his campaign on X.
Yeah.
There's no visibility. And his opening line was, I'm here to lead the great American comeback.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
It was the least inspiring thing I'd ever
They had like a really boring movie trailer.
And the Beltway, I'm sure DeSantis was far more popular than Trump, but I think they quickly realized that Trump has a lot of loyalty in the Republican Party. And people are still finding this out. Like, these guys are still trying to run anti-Trump campaigns and losing, and they just keep coming up with different reasons for why. And I'm like, the most obvious explanation here is that Trump is just really popular. I know that's like hard for people to wrap their heads around, but like, go talk to like just average primary voters in the Republican Party. It's like older white people. They love Trump. There's no way around
for me
it.
to switch my hat right now for this.
I will say
moment,
this,
because
look,
everywhere I go across the country, it's MAGA.
With Bill Maher saying he's considering Vance, I think people need to realize when the boomers are gone, it's going to swing far left.
Yeah. Well, and this is the big question.
Real quick, just Bill Maher represents the boomer Democrat, and they're more moderate, and Bill Maher is 70. With all due respect, I don't mean to be morbid. They don't got a lot of time left.
Yeah.
And the young people are going to take over, and they're commies.
This is what scares me, is where we're at now. People think it's bad now where the left is. 20 years from now, what's being indoctrinated in our universities and in our elementary schools, it's going to be far worse. And so we think these guys are bad. What's coming is putting you in rail cars and sending you off to the chambers. And the question I have is, can we on our side get out of our own way long enough?
Sounds like you're suggesting there's going to be some kind of revolution or
that's what they want. I mean, that's what they want. They want that. That's what they're not even pretending anymore. They're not even telegraphing it. That's what they're saying. There's no, that revolution is the only answer. And when you listen to these guys, it's like, no, listen to what they say. They mean what they say. That's what they want. And my question is, can you imagine if we got out of our own way and stopped fighting ourselves? I mean, you look at the right. We win the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And what do we do after Charlie Kirk's assassinated? Like 2 weeks after his memorial, amazing memorial, country comes back together, revival's happening, and then you see our side, the division, start fighting ourselves.
I mean,
let's
go ahead.
You want to hit one more? I was going to jump to the next story.
Well, everything you're saying is true, but you bring up, like, I see people talk about how the right controls the House, the Senate, and the executive, and it's like, yes, but the margins are so thin to expect there to be anything that actually gets done is just, I think it's expecting too much. The point of the way that our system is set up is to move slowly, and then you throw in the fact that the House and the Senate both have very narrow margins. To say that the Republicans control it, they don't. They have a majority, but it's so thin to unless you have a supermajority, you don't get to go in there and just do whatever you want. So, but go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
I want to jump to the story from Mediaites. CNN data guru flags warning sign for Democrats in the midterms. It's bad news for Dems. There's no guarantees here. Let's roll the tape.
We've been talking about the fact that Democrats might be waking up this morning a wee little bit nervous. Why is that? Well, there's new polling out this weekend which suggests that while they are leading in the so-called generic ballot test, the race for Congress, it's not by much, and certainly maybe not by enough. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten. So the numbers show what, Harry?
They show a big worry sign, at least compared to history, because I want to take it back through the history machine. And I want to note, okay, House National July, CNBC, Washington Post poll average, midterm years. This is the generic ballot, right? Where were we back in 2006 when, of course, Democrats would go back on to win the House? They were up by 12 in an average of those two polls. How about 2018? They were up by an average of 10 in those two polls. Look at where that average is now. Well less than half of either the level of 2018 and 2006. Way down there. Yes, they're ahead, but they're ahead. I have to shrink down on the screen. They're ahead by only 4 points, which is significantly less than what we saw in 2018 and 2006 when Democrats took back the House. So, as I said, this is an this is a warning sign. While, yes, Democrats are ahead, not by anywhere near the margin they were in prior wave years.
Because 4 isn't 10.
No.
And it's not 12.
No, they taught me that back in pre-K, that 4 is not 10 or 12.
And not only that,
Thanks,
but 4
CNN.
might not be enough with all the redistricting we've seen.
That's exactly right, Johnny B. So this isn't just, hey, you know what, we want to lead by 8 or 10 or 12 because we want an even larger majority. You might not even get the majority at all if, in fact, the House popular vote ends up by 4. Because just take a look at this. Okay, the Washington Post CNBC poll lead, it's 4 on average, right? But what about needed to control with redistricting? You need probably a 3 to 4 point victory nationwide in the national House vote in order to get a House majority. You are right on the edge with this 4-point lead in the average of the CNBC Washington Post polls, right on the edge of even getting that majority. And that's why I said this is a very worrisome sign. This is troublesome for Democrats because despite all of Donald Trump's unpopularity in the polls, they do not seem to be building an advantage that guarantees them the House or anything close to a guarantee. It's very close, at least if you're listening.
All right, we get it. Now, I would add to this, the Republicans have not yet begun to fight. We're still months out, and we're in the midst of this war. Trump has not begun to play the actual cards, which will boost him even 1 or 2 points.
Yeah. And also, it's worth noting that the energy, like we've been saying today, is with the DSA and the far left candidates. Those people are historically unreliable when it comes to getting out and actually voting, right? Young people, just in general. So the more people that are on the ballot that are DSA people, the more likely it is that the boomers, who are very reliable, they get out and vote every election, it's more likely that they're going to say, I'm not voting for that person, and they either won't vote or maybe they'll vote for the Republican.
I think, look, I go out and touch grass all the time. Literally just went to Vegas, played WSOP, took 3 days off from the show while I was doing a sporting event, as some would describe it. And all the regular people there, they're moderate. And they all basically agreed, Trump, but the Democrats are crazy.
Yeah.
I think that plays. I think that plays in November.
Well, and what are the Democrats actually running on other than communism, taking away your property, rent control, all of this, just talking points of the left that are dismal failures in practice.
Did y'all see that Caleb Hammer viral video where he yells at that blue-haired chick?
Yeah.
And he's like, what % of people actually rely on the federal minimum wage? And she's like, I don't know, 30%, less than 1%.
Yeah.
And so I fact-checked. State minimum wage is less than 2%. Between 1% and 2% live on state level minimum wage. So these people are living in fantasy land where they believe fake nonsense and they're voting on it.
Yeah, I mean, like to your point, that video that clip with Caleb Hammer, he was so exasperated because this person lived in a world that was totally detached from reality, and that's actually a problem if you get enough people that agree with them and are voting based on a lie. You look at what happened to the whole country during the BLM riots. If you asked that same type of person, they would say that they believe that thousands of black men were being killed, unarmed black men.
There is a video where a guy goes to Venice Beach and he asks, how many unarmed black men do you believe were killed last year? And they're like, 10,000. It was 9.
Yeah.
9 out of 300 plus million police encounters.
And the country had riots all summer long.
Yeah.
Cities burned because people believed things that were not true. Just because something is not true does not mean that it cannot motivate people to action.
And this is all the Democrats have. Going back to that point, what are they running on? It was Antifa burning down our country for 4 years under President Trump. Then it turned to BLM. Now it's ICE. It's attacking ICE because we want to protect all these people that we allowed in here under Biden. But it's all hysteria driven based on non-facts.
Yeah.
I mean, when you actually look at the numbers, they don't even know who we're going after.
This is what I tweeted with the Caleb Hammer thing. I said, the left just means wrong and the right just means correct.
Yeah. I mean, kind of.
Look, that's where we're at right now.
I mean, as long as you can motivate people with things that are not true, you cannot guarantee that you're not that you're going to be able to say, oh well, it's not true. So like the old facts don't care about your feelings. That doesn't mean that people are always going to vote on based on what's true or
actually,
real.
on the left, they do the opposite. Yeah, and that's where I think we've failed because we haven't understood that enough to be able to counter their arguments with emotions. You know, we try to counter their arguments with facts. They don't care. These guys are, you're out there, blue-haired lunatic.
Look, a lot of it is driven by, there's a reason why I think young people tend to lean left, or the left tend to be young, because they don't have a firm grasp of long-standing politics, and they're doing things to try and fit in. The younger people are going to be more motivated by social acceptance, followers, likes, etc., as opposed to solutions to running a country and sustaining an economy.
Yeah, well, and and to your point, I mean, this has been the big problem is the Republican base has understood this for a very, very long time. It was just, again, these GOP leaders were still committed to this faux idea of 20th century statesmanship that just doesn't exist anymore because the left has been playing dirty for so long. I mean, I'm always reminded of this moment in the 2008 race when John McCain's doing a stump speech or whatever, and this lady comes up and asks a question, and she's like, I just don't know about Obama because I think he's a Muslim. And then John McCain's like, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. And Trump is the first guy to come up and not turn his base into cucks.
Yeah.
He was just he is a Muslim. We're gonna get him out of here.
Well, if a lady said, he'd be like, well, that's a very good point. Many people
are saying, I don't know, but some are saying, some really terrific people are saying they saw
Hillary Clinton's a lizard.
They saw him skip the bacon.
That's what people were waiting for. Somebody that actually just said it.
Yeah.
And even if it was true or not, it's hey, at least you're saying what we're thinking.
Yeah,
you're not couching your comments.
Yeah, John McCain was like, oh, no, he's actually a really good guy. And then Trump was like, I mean, John McCain, he got caught. I mean,
but
that was a misstep. He was good on the first part.
Yeah.
But I think this is the direction that we're going. I think the powers that be, I think Trump included, want to return to a time where politics was like that. Yeah. They want politics to not be pop culture. They want the look. I mean, the World Cup was amazing. The halftime show had Justin Bieber praising Jesus Christ,
and
which
make Spain great again, right?
Right, and exactly. So I think the strategy has been, and I wonder if this is why we're seeing the conspiracy slop go wild. Isolate the weird conspiracy factions, which include the leftoids and the retard right, and then the main political space, the dominant economic political space, meaning where businesses run and where people succeed, is going to be more disagreeable but polite, as it were.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have these people that you're talking about on the right and left, just voluntarily exiling themselves from the political space.
Exactly.
I'm going to go vote for this candidate that gets 3% in the polls. It's okay, thank you. Well, the rest of us are going to go conduct policy and affect the country because these people are convinced everything's trying to kill them at all times. So irrelevant.
I wonder why so many people go on this retard right conspiracy slop tinge, and look, behind the scenes, a lot of them are saying it explicitly that they're doing so great. It's oh, the numbers are so good. And then you can see the reaction they have to Ben Shapiro. And by all means, look, with all due respect to Ben Shapiro, I don't watch his show. I like Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, I think, is fantastic. And Ben's okay. But what do? They say, haha, Ben, your views are down. As if the only thing that matters to them is that they're getting traffic. Well, that's going to drive you off a cliff. I warned CNN about this in 2016. They decided to go Orange Man Bad Network, drove their ratings off a cliff. Regular people are just tell me what's happening. Why is my milk expensive? They don't need to hear about these wackaloon conspiracies.
But just back to what you were saying, do you think that's actually a possibility still in the political climate that we're in to get that rational center?
Yes, and when you take a look at the Ellisons buying TikTok, I think the writing's on the wall. TikTok is going to start pushing not so political content. And I think we're seeing a lot of it. I think one of the reasons we don't have a riot season, I think one of the reasons the temperature seems to have come down a little bit in the past couple of months is because the social media that people are being delivered on Instagram and TikTok is no longer hyper-partisan progressive stuff that China wanted to push.
Yeah, I think there's a variety. Yeah, that I think people just got burnt out. I mean, there's a lot of explanations, which is funny because in a lot of ways this still is a really existential battle going on. But I think the right, this is something people have said for a long time. I think it is broadly true. I mean, you do have the people that hate Trump, but I think they're a very small, loud but small minority of the Republican Party. I think by and large, most Republicans voted Trump in and they kind of just trust him, where they don't feel like they need to watch his day-to-day actions. Where in the first term, it wasn't that way at all. In the first term, people that were Trump supporters, people that weren't Trump supporters, were all still skeptical of the Trump administration. So they kept a much closer eye on what was going on. And liberals are the same. I think liberals are just well, I know everything Trump's going to do is bad, so why should I bother, watching, Stephen Colbert or whatever. Everyone already knows what their take's going to be, so why bother keeping up?
I think that a lot of what we're seeing in podcasting is you're gonna, like as I just said, you're gonna drive yourself off a cliff. What's happening is you may be getting a lot of views, but you're centering and isolating your audience into a key sliver that is particularly esoteric on one key issue. When that issue no longer becomes relevant, you have an audience that no longer cares because you're not talking to them about issues that broadly matter.
Yeah.
I think when you take a look at Bill Maher saying he's considering Vance, when you look at even Tucker Carlson saying something similar, the writing's on the wall for what 2020 is going to be. It's going to be the more uppity 2008 era of politics, like, well, J.D. Vance is professional. I think I'll choose him. And the Democrats are just not for me.
Well,
I hope you're right. I'm not there with you, though. I think we're so siloed now. And my bigger concern is with the left. I think we have a percentage of it on the right, but the left is jihadist, communist. That base is going to burn down their party before they...
It's possible. The challenge, the thing about Bill Maher, what he's saying is that he wants a moderate Democrat.
Right.
In Illinois, the moderates won. In New York, the progressives won. In Colorado, the progressives won. It's not a done deal yet. And I think the reason why the Ellisons purchased TikTok and why they're buying CBS is they're going to try and isolate the fringe element of politics that was divisive and pull everyone back to the center through media. I think TikTok will largely do that. I think when you go on Instagram and TikTok and you control via algorithm what people see, the reason why people think 10,000 unarmed black men were murdered is because they were being spam blasted every single day with these videos, recycled, regurgitated. But if you start spam blasting people videos of the World Cup and football, they ain't thinking about police shootings.
Yeah. And I guess like in certain instances where people really are just like one issue voters, and like as soon as that issue is solved, they just completely like exit politics or just get really mad all the time. Like, well, Bill Maher, I guess, is because weed got rescheduled. But even like, you have like...
He's like, I'm for Trump now.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I can vote Republican now, finally. And then you have like the pro-life crowd, and I'm very ardently pro-life. I support like a total abortion. Is that politically feasible? No, definitely not. But I do support that. That's my position. But the pro-life lobby, like once Roe v. Wade got overturned, like they have nothing left now. Like their fundraising dried up. Like they're getting hits on Fox News and all that dried up. So now they just have no idea what to do. And you see a lot of them are like pissed off at Trump because he took away their like fundraising golden goose. Like I don't want to like pick on anyone, but yeah, you have these like prominent pro-lifers and they're like always nitpicking stuff with Trump. And it's like, yeah, because he's the one guy that like actually did something, and he did it like offhand. Like George Bush and all these other guys was like a centerpiece of their campaign. Trump was like, what? Is that still a thing? I don't know. Just overturn it real quick and then move on.
That goes back to, you look at everything that the left does. We want to fix crime. Well, we do nothing to actually fix crime. We want to fix homelessness. We do nothing to actually fix homelessness.
They make it all worse.
Yeah. So the whole point is, because if you actually fix it, you lose the funding.
Yeah.
And so you actually have to continually perpetuate it rather than actually fix it. You actually fix it. Now we can move on to something else. But the left is great because they've got the intersectionality. So then when they lose this idea, now it's, now we're all going for trans rights and this.
I want to pull up this here from Variety. Shane Gillis breaks Guinness World Record for the most tickets sold for a solo comedy show. He sold 76,212 tickets for his July 17th show at Lincoln Financial Field. This is absolutely insane. And I will just state, weird things happen when USAID goes tits up, huh?
Well,
rap music evaporates from the charts. Shane Gillis, who was fired from SNL for being offensive, now has the record for most tickets sold by a solo comedian. Can I just point out how insane it is? He filled a stadium to tell jokes. That's amazing. I genuinely believe that USAID was a psyop that was manipulating culture around the world and in the United States.
Yeah, and the riot season ended. I mean,
agreed.
all of those things happened simultaneously. Congrats to Shane. He's hilarious.
Epic. And awesome. And they fired him.
It's crazy.
Because he made, what did he do? Did he like a Chinese accent or something?
Yeah, it was like very like.
Said, me love you long time or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm allowed to do that, by the way.
Are you?
Oh, I'm Asian.
You got the card?
I got the card. Yeah. That's right.
It is shocking, like with Shane Gillis, because I mean, this is a guy that would have been like his life ruined like 10 years ago. Like he would have been persona non grata, and now he like chums it up with like Sam Hyde and is still like selling it. And like they brought the house for this. It wasn't just Shane Gillis. Like they brought the house. Like all these different stars came out, and it turned into this big festival. And I was like associating with people like that like 5 years ago. You'd be done. It'd be over for you.
Yep.
It just shows you that like I don't know if the culture's moved, because I still think people are angry about that. I just think like. It's lost its teeth. Like you can't really get in trouble because there's no mechanisms left. Like they cancel too many people. I think there's still plenty of people that are annoyed about this and hate Shane Gillis and that sort of thing, but they've just lost their fastball. I think that's more what's going on here. Like I don't think it's like, oh, woke is dead. Woke is definitely not dead.
No.
But what I think is true is that I said it already, is, woke maybe lost their fastball insofar as just like depersonifying someone overnight.
I think they just lost the influence in the administration, or basically the influence, because there are still people that, given the opportunity, they will do everything they can to ostracize people that say the wrong thing or what have you. They just don't have the universal control that they used to, because people kind of realized, actually cancellation doesn't really make people go away, right? Like you may lose. Pardon me?
We have to live.
Yeah.
And it started backfiring on them to the point, I think, where it was like, okay, well, I think it was twofold. One, we got to the point on the right that we were getting canceled. We said, well, screw it. I don't care. Say what you want about me. I'm going to keep going. And you had a critical mass of people that said that we kind of got over the hurdle. But then I think on the left too, it's like, at some point they're going to have to eat what they sow.
And I think the explanation is actually
what they sow.
Yeah,
that's true. You don't just reap it.
You got to eat it.
You got to eat it too.
It comes off the vine, baby.
I think the explanation for like why this is happening is actually really simple. Like literally, as President Trump just like single-handedly dragging the acceptable discourse with him, because like they threw everything at him, they shot at him, tried to throw him in jail, et cetera, canceled him a million times, and he like became president again. And I think that like there is something kind of intrinsic about seeing a figure like that basically leading your country and being the guy for, he's the center of the world. He's been the center of the world for 10 years now. That has like an effect on the culture, whether it's like intangible or tangible. So like, I think a lot of it actually is, people come up with like these sociological explanations for this kind of stuff. I think a lot of it is just, if Trump can be not just tolerated, but like literally be the center of all the energy in the entire world and president of the United States, then like Shane Gillis, who cares what he
is. It is
a great point.
I think it is the biggest white pill. It's a white suppository. Shane Gillis selling 76,000 tickets. He's a comedian. He is edgy. He is offensive. Don't get me wrong. He's a little lib, a little bit. But selling out a stadium after they tried to take him down, they tried to cancel him. Mm-hmm. I'd prefer if the libs were all just like Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Like we're in the middle of the road, libs and cons hanging out, disagreeing, but eating pizza together. Yeah.
That's how it should be. I mean, we used to be able to do that. I started my career going out and trying to find common ground with people, and I got beat over the head with it.
Yeah.
Sticks for wanting to find that, because they realized you can't. If we actually allow that, we actually come up with solutions.
I got to be honest. I think these people were largely just psyops. Like USAID goes tits up and they evaporate. Like so much has evaporated overnight.
I think
with USAID being gone.
I think part of the reason is because there aren't actually a lot of them.
Right.
It was the people that would kind of be the ground troops or whatever. It was manufactured by USAID. The people that were the organizers were the ones being funded by USAID, and they were directing, people that didn't really have a whole lot to lose to go and do things. You saw that in the riots.
I had a conversation with a normie. I would describe this person as a normie, and it was I was talking about the SAVE Act, and I tweeted this. I tweeted that Donald Trump is pretending that he wants the SAVE Act passed, and my argument is that he went after Thomas Massie with reckless abandon. Like he went after Thomas Massie and he got him out. He has not even said a bad word of Thune. He has not even posted a tweet saying, Thune, you need to push this through. I don't care when he's been. And people are like, trust me, Tim, in 2028, we'll see some. He's not doing anything right now visibly to oppose those who are obstructing him. And so I'm like, I don't think that Trump's actually trying as hard as he possibly could. I don't believe he actually wants it passed. So as this person asks me, well, I don't understand why people don't want the SAVE Act. Like, they mentioned some libs they knew who are freaking out and super angry about it, but they don't understand why. And this is a normie saying, I don't understand why liberals are upset about getting voter ID. And I said, they're not. They just hate the right. So anything the right says is wrong and bad and evil, even if what the right is saying is correct and logical and good for the country. So the liberals are just like, is it the right wants it? Okay, we hate it. It's evil. It's bad. Let illegal immigrants vote. We don't need IDs anymore. And there's no logic behind it. That's why I say it's a cult. Their motivation is simply an emotional hatred of you, the other.
And to your point, though, speaking of superheroes, a good superhero needs a villain. And so you've got to have something in some ways, you have to have those issues that drive people out. And it'll be interesting to see. You said we haven't even started fighting yet, what those issues are that actually get people out.
Well, and as far as like why the culture seems to be like becoming more moderate, or at least like the acceptable views has widened exponentially, I think like the main reason for that is because it's not cool to care about anything anymore. And like nihilism is very much in vogue right now. Everyone for a variety of reasons, is very nihilistic at the moment. And so people, whether you are extremely left-wing or extremely right-wing or take, your politics very seriously, like the average person just kind of tunes you out at this point. Because again, like if you really care about something, even if you're like left-wing, that is viewed as just kind of like broadly cringe and like the mainstream culture. And then this is like, this isn't like the 90s where everyone is moderate, broadly speaking. Everyone probably does have some pretty strong political opinions or maybe even extreme positions, but they won't express it openly because it's just like very uncool to like care very deeply about politics now. This is why like some of these figures, whether it's your Ben Shapiro's or your like left-wing commentators, if you go on Instagram or Twitter, like they're ridiculed like routinely by the mainstream, culture. Even if these people agree to them or disagree with them, it's because like nihilism's in. Again, it's not cool to really care about anything. This is why comedy is having such a moment right now, is because it scratches two itches. As one, it's inherently nihilistic. Like the point of comedy is to just mock what you're observing. And Shane Gillis, not quite an observational comic, but like definitely taps into that. That's why comedy is having such a moment. It's even if you're taking political jabs, it is perceived as like kind of rising above it all and making a mockery of the whole thing. And then B, because I think another explanation is because comedy, if you're a stand-up comedian, it's impossible to have international appeal because your comedy will only make sense in the context of the culture that you're like sort of operating in. So like, Americans find Shane Gillis very funny. His humor won't really translate to France. I mean, maybe some people in Britain will think it's funny, but he won't have like the same appeal and even in Britain that he would in America. So comedy, it's because it's so focused on the country you live in. I think that's also another reason why it's kind of having this moment, because all the movies, all the TV, all the music right now is packaged for mass appeal across the entire world. Comedy is like one of the few things that still seems like it's very hyper tailored for your day-to-day experience as an American. And I think that's another reason why, again, it's just kind of they're able to sell at stadiums. I mean, Kevin Hart was selling out stadiums not too long ago.
And it's funny again. I mean, when it went to cancel culture was working and everyone had to moderate what they were saying, it was like, okay, well, screw comedy. Now it's actually funny, and you can actually say, we're back to funny being funny.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not really seeing that many hack comedians anymore, because it's like, again, it's uncool to care about politics. Like, most of these people that are like hack comics now were like the brave truth tellers in the 70s or 80s. But I'm like, someone like Carlin now would just be like, what do you mean not getting the vaccine, you idiot? Like, that's what he'd be doing now. So most of that generation of comics have all like washed out. And now you have this new batch of just kind of more like, I guess I can't think of another word than nihilist would be the best word.
I don't know if George Carlin would have gone full cult.
Oh, dude, every one of his contemporaries did.
That's true. Howard Stern.
Howard
Stern did.
All those shocked. And every time
Jesus.
George Carlin like barked up a tree, it was always up the evangelical conservative tree.
Yeah.
Very rarely did he like ever really give it to the atheists or really give it to the left wing. Like if he was alive now, it would be like, this Trump guy, this idiot fascist Nazi. And it's like, okay, because that's what all of his contemporaries are doing. So I can't stand when like you see these like boomer right wingers and they're like, oh, George Carlin, if only he could have seen this. I'm like, dude, he would hate your guts. Like this guy.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
I mean, considering Howard Stern bent the knee.
Yeah, Howard Stern. I mean, you name it. Any comic from that era, by and large, is either left wing or just vanished.
Wasn't it amazing?
Every time you say by and large, I just think of Wally.
Yeah, I think of Chris Farley.
It's amazing that the left, the counterculture, the ones that used to be, the grunge, now are the ones that are stepping in line. I mean, that.
I don't think either
punk died, dude.
We're punk.
All these punk bands were just like, the machine is good.
Yeah, Green Day.
Machine is great.
That's
like, let's go, machine.
Yeah.
Rage on behalf of the machine.
But
Get in line.
And nothing's even like really even grunge anymore, because like the culture is so shallow now that whatever your like opponent is, you're basically shadow boxing, because there's not really like this unified culture anymore. There's not like a unified elite. It's not like the 70s or 80s where at least you could like plausibly like make this pitch that like you're fighting the system or whatever. Like the system by and large doesn't even really exist anymore. It's very fractured. We're seeing it now. So like any like grunge or any way of being like alternative or anything, it's just like mainly shadow boxing.
Well, yeah, there's no more underground, right? There used to be, it used to be where you'd have to go out to a place to get music, and if you wanted to look for stuff that wasn't, being played on the radio, you actually physically had to leave your house and go to try to find it. I've related this story a bunch of times. When I was a kid, I had to drive I had to have my mom drive because I was like 14. Had to have my mom drive me like 40 minutes to this place called the Music Outlet because it was the only place that was even close by at all that had like death metal bands. And so like, if I went there, I would pick up a CD and maybe I would like the CD. I'd have to judge by the cover or judge by, if I knew the band and then bring it home and hopefully I liked it. But nowadays, all you have to do is just do a Google search and you can listen to, search on Spotify. You can listen to anything at all. So there's no more going out and finding stuff because it's all literally brought to you.
Sounds.
No, not at all.
It's not even that. It's that I can go on my AI program and say, I really like All That Remains, but I like Paramore, so I'm going to mix the two and have Haley Williams sing All That Remains music.
Literally, because he's done it.
I've done it.
The difference now is back then, unusual, abnormal was abnormal. Now abnormal is normal. So, the grunge is normal now. It's the calm, sentient folks like Tim that are the grunge of today, I'd say, because that's what's abnormal.
Well, because standards drop, so everything's permissible now. Like, what is grunge when everyone is like behaving poorly? I mean, everyone is behaving poorly. Like, dude, people literally wear pajamas to the airport and have like
jail.
Much worse. I just noticed.
They're like covered in they're covered in like nasty tattoos. They have a bunch of piercings, blue hair.
Jail.
They're like in pajamas.
Well, they are trying to like ban it.
But no one bats an eye to this kind of stuff anymore because there's no such thing as grunge. Standards have dropped too much.
People ask me, what does Trump mean, make America great again? I'll tell you. It means when you showed up at an airport, you wore a suit, and when you got on the plane, they served everyone a fine dinner, and you were all dressed neatly and appropriately. That was great. No one's talking about being racist. Tucker Carlson said the interests of black Americans are the same as every American. Why would you ask that question? That's stupid. I loved when he said, I've got more problems with white women than I do with black people. Like, what?
Did you say that?
Yeah. He got asked. He got asked
about.
So
nice living in Maine.
Well, he got asked by some Australian journalist about great replacement, theory and like how whites are being replaced. And he's like, I never said white people. I said Americans are being replaced. And he's like, I have bigger issues with white liberal women than black people.
Me when I'm driving around DC, like, I mean, I sure hope a Karen doesn't carjack me.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at.
Yeah, that's the safe, edgy stuff. I've made this point on the show a million times. Nothing sets me off more than like the safe, edgy stuff where it's like people will chest beat all day about like Canada or about Karens. But like when you bring up like day-to-day groups that are like harming you, it's like all of a sudden that's like unacceptable. When you are like, I don't know, man, I think India's causing more problems than Canada. Well, I guess it is synonymous now, but it's like, I don't know, dude. I think India's causing us more problems than like France. But like people joke about France all day or Italy, but I'm like, dude, I think India, like Africa, I think they're causing us more problems. Same thing. It's like, whoa, these Karens, am I right? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I think black people are like making my life harder on a daily basis, like far more often than Karens. Like, what's the Karen sin? Like expecting like exceptional service from retail.
Well, I mean,
that's the crime.
Well, wanting to burn down ICE too. I mean,
the way they vote is the problem, right?
White women vote for Republicans.
What?
No.
White women vote for the Republican Party. It's like
Mary
pull up the stats. Pull up the stats on that one.
Yes, white women vote for the Republican Party. This is what I mean. Everyone like dunks on them. I'm like, what about like black women who vote like 6 to 94?
Well, the whole DNC. I mean, I actually do the statistics on it, but it was a large, I would say, majority. Anecdotally, black women that run the DNC now.
It's crazy. And it's like, it is true that there's like a white socialist activist base, but who is supplying them the votes? Because white socialists have always existed in this country, but they never had a...
No, Tate's correct. White women.
Yes.
53% Trump, 46 Harris.
Yeah, so they like catch all this flack, and I'm like, hey, they're patriots. Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, 53-46, it's not...
I mean, white men are much better. It's like 58.
Yeah.
So,
but like when it comes to...
They catch all this flack. I'm like, why are we beating up on white women?
Well, I think we're talking about the left-wing white women.
Well, that's true, but left wing of any group is a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, it's like, well, the DSA, everyone's like, white socialists. I'm like, all these DSA candidates are like immigrants or the children of immigrants. So it's like, again, because as white people, it's easy to rough up on our like fellow people. Trump made this point when Trump, that was years ago, he was like, customs treats my wife really poorly. but then they don't like really rough up like a lot of these other people coming in. Because it's like for white people, we can rough up on other white people really easily because it's like we don't feel bad. There's no like social pressure to like be easy on them or whatever. But then when it's like these other groups, like, dude, no, all of these DSA candidates by and large are like immigrants, the children of immigrants. But like, no, it's the white socialists. They're a problem too. I agree.
That shouldn't have got citizenship, birthright citizenship.
Not only that, the founders should have made the same stipulations for Congress and the Senate that they made for the president.
Yeah.
You have to be born in America to be in the federal government.
What a ridiculous notion that they're like, only the president. What? Why not the rest of them?
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean,
because they didn't anticipate like us letting in people in the country that weren't born in like Britain
or
France.
or that hated this country. I mean, the point that we're bringing people in that objectively hate this country and we're saying, here's your citizenship, come back in 35 years or less, 21 years.
The founders were like, okay, let's see who can like run for Congress or like Protestant, like, okay, like white, landowner, etc.
Catholics.
It never occurred to them like, should we make them born in America? It's like they had so many like protections against someone from Somalia running that it would never occur to them. Like,
Was it you who was saying that if the founding fathers were alive today, they'd be like, Catholics can vote?
Yeah, like literally, that'd be like their first concern. What do you mean Baptists can run for office?
But only a couple generations before that, people were like, people are voting.
Yeah, right.
which is more my speed nowadays.
Yeah, literally. So it's just like I don't know. It's just I think everyone is like missing the very obvious points of what's going on, and like they're reading into the founders when the founders like, okay, sure, but they were like pretty explicit about their like maybe women shouldn't vote. It's like what happens when you expand the vote? It's like things get pretty bad actually. Like the founder, I hate this thing where we treat the founders like they're these like bigoted idiots. It's like actually no, they're like smarter than we are.
Yeah, it made sense considering basically it was one household, one vote.
Right.
But it's not just that. We didn't have IDs. So how did we know that you were part of the community and should vote? You owned property here.
Yeah, literally.
It wasn't to disrespect a young man or a woman or a black guy or a Native American. It was like, you don't live here.
Yeah. How do we know? Well, now we don't care.
Yeah, he's got a deed to the house. He lives there in that property. He wants to vote on what we're doing.
Now you come in illegally and we say, go ahead and vote. And beyond that, I mean, I go back to where you look at how we're voting and you look at the demographics of who's voting for what. If you don't have skin in the game, you shouldn't be able to vote. You shouldn't be able to vote for more stuff that I have to pay for.
I'm thinking
if you don't have skin in the game.
There should probably be around like 2.5 million people in the country that can vote.
Yeah. And I figured it out.
500,000 from each state.
Your vote is weighted against the proportion of taxes you pay.
I love it. I love it.
The problem is the Republicans would get wiped out.
We multiply your vote by your total tax spend for the year.
Yeah.
The Republicans would get cleaned out.
Isn't that sad?
Because of the elderly.
Because of the elderly?
Yeah, they all take Social Security and don't pay into the system. So you lose the elderly vote. The Democrats are.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
But I mean, we do have the only trillionaire.
You do pay tax on Social Security.
Well,
2.5.
We do have one trillionaire.
I don't know how that counterweighs.
Yeah, that's true. That might.
We don't charge you to vote. We just take the taxes paid and multiply your vote by that, and then we add all the votes.
If you weigh it up, then like New York City taxpayers who live by themselves are going to be like having the most outsized voting power, and like the elderly will.
No.
California,
I didn't say state or city, federal.
Yeah, California.
Everyone's paying the same federal taxes.
They make more money in New York City, so they would.
That's true. That's true.
So I think this would actually.
When your voting base is living off the system, 50% of more than 50% in California pay less than they receive. You're going to wipe out half the
2.5. Listen, 2.5 million people in America can vote. You all have to be born here to be able to vote, and 2.5 million people is the only number. So as people pass away, then you can add new people to the voter rolls.
We get this
500,000 people.
Yeah.
How about this?
1,000 people from every state or so.
How about this? When you vote, we randomly select 1,000 voters for execution. You really gotta want to vote.
Skin in the game.
Like that's skin
big
in the game.
time.
That's skin in the game. It's like thank you
Live
for your service
fortune and sacred honor.
I got the
That's
idea
like
from the
full
show.
on.
You ever see Sliders?
No.
The show in the 90s. Dude creates a portal gun and then they accidentally get lost in the multiverse or whatever. They go to this one dimension where the ATM just lets you take out as much money as you want, and they're like really excited. And then people are going, "Thank you for what you're doing." Like, this is great. Look at all the money we're getting for free. And they don't realize that the way the system works is every time you take out money, you get a raffle ticket for execution. So you're allowed to take out as much money as you want, but you're buying more raffle tickets to be executed. And then when you win the lottery, they kill you.
What if you take out, like, is there a limit to how much you can take out? Or
In the show, no.
No, you just go, I'm
So-
going to take
so the
out
main
Take
characters-
it all, take over the
That's
world,
what
change
happened.
the world. Change
The main
laws.
characters didn't realize, and they took out insane amounts of money and then won, and then didn't realize what winning the lottery meant. And then when they realized they were going to be killed, they're like, "Oops."
I don't know. I'd buy all the guns and shoot back.
Well,
Not advocating for that. I'm just saying.
Well, I am advocating for
not in a society that
2.5
tells you we'll
million
give you
people in
free
America.
money, but every time you take money, you are buying a raffle ticket for execution.
Yeah, no.
You live by the sword. You know.
Yeah, no, it's scary. I mean, but going back to our founders, I don't think they intended for jihadists to be being elected and taking over communities in our country and saying, oh, this all religions are the same. It's like, no, if you want to kill this country and tear it down, they're not all the same.
Thomas Jefferson like bought a copy of the Quran. He's like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting," and then he read further. And he's like, "Let's bomb Libya. We gotta take Tripoli. This is getting ugly."
Yeah, I mean, look, the founders were pretty clear about the fact that this was like a Christian country. Like that was the way that it was founded. And like they didn't have the specific desire to keep people out, but at the same time, like there was no thought that people were going to come in, right? Like they didn't think that it was going to be a ton of people from that with significantly different backgrounds. Their conception was that it was going to be Europeans,
right?
You know.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin was like, I don't know if Welsh people are white. Like, and like this guy is supposedly like this multicultural, like pluralistic, like advocate. It's like, no, dude, they wouldn't have been able to wrap their head around like people. If you told them like, hey, there's a Somalian, they'd be like, how do they even get here? Like, how does someone from Somalia even arrive to the new world? They wouldn't understand.
They had them 3 years.
Different. The other coast. The other coast.
Knew.
Sure. The other
Ironically, the same people that are moaning about slavery today are ignoring. You know, I had some of those ideas we had earlier. Places that actually still have it today.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
I mean, all of the hypocrisy that we see. North Africa, Mauritania, all these places.
I was watching, my girlfriend and I were watching a Netflix documentary on the founding of the U.S. Like it's a multi-part. And like the way that they characterize slavery, it sounds like it was only in the U.S. It sounds like Americans were going to Africa to get slaves as opposed to there being an existing slave trade. It sounds like the arguments about whether or not slavery was going to be an institution in the U.S. was something that was actually global. The way that they characterize it is very different from the reality, which is just because the U.S., you know, when the U.S. ended slavery in the continental U.S., it didn't mean that slavery ended around the world. There's still currently slavery going on throughout a bunch of different places.
Not only that, but liberals don't know what slavery is. And if you ask one of these progressive or liberals to describe slavery, they're going to describe a black man in a field being beaten by a white man, and they're going to ignore literally every other form of slavery, which include working in stores, right? Slavery was bad in general. I'm just saying, like, they only have the most extreme idea in their mind. They don't understand that, in fact, there are many slaves who made money. They were slaves, but they made money. They worked in excess and then bought their freedom.
Yeah.
So not a good system, not a fan, obviously, not defending it. Calm down, libs, with your out-of-context clips. My point is understanding the history of how these things could have been possible. It's extremely important understanding why we changed them and what the function of government was.
It goes back to what we started talking about at the beginning of the show is if we actually had dialogue, constructive dialogue with facts, then we would hash out these issues and actually come to common ground. But we can't do that. The left can't do that because they know they lose in the arena of ideas.
Well, I just think look, liberals don't like to come on shows like that Caleb Hammer clip where he's yelling at that woman and he really snaps at her. But because she's a ignorant activist who has no idea what she's talking about and it's just virtue signaling, they don't know what they're talking about and they're just trying to say what they think they're supposed to be saying.
Right.
Many of these young people in their early 20s have not experienced politics, myself included, when I was in my early 20s. That being said, I was in politics when I was a teenager because I was going to these protests and I was reading the news all day, every day. But a lot of young people that we've talked with on the show are like, oh, I was 13 years old when Trump came down the escalator. And it's like, right. So were you watching the news? No. When did you start? 3 years ago? And it's like, right. So I'm not trying to be a dip when I say you don't remember and you haven't experienced what was going on in politics. So you end up with all these young people. And when I talk to them, they're trying to get clips for TikTok.
Right.
They're not trying to have a conversation or understand. They just want to get that shock comment for a clip to go viral.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, we live in that age of ADD, clickbait, doom scroll.
Indeed. Everything's fake. Everybody's fake. It's all about, I'll just say this, like the drama. There's more drama than there's ever been, and I am just not doing any of it. Yeah. It's over. I'm done.
in my book, to pitch it again, Step into Fear, I have a whole chapter on that, division and distraction. If you can avoid those two things in your life, you will be better off. And unfortunately, too many people get sucked into it.
You know, with there's a lot of prominent. I'm not gonna call on anybody anymore. I'm not gonna name drop these the stupid drama stuff. But there's a lot of prominent personalities, left, right, and on the right they're all fighting each other. On the left they're fighting each other. Left and right are fighting each other. And I'm just like, you know, none of these people are in positions of power to a degree where I care anymore. You know, I understand they're influential and they have big shows. Whatever. I'm gonna pay attention to the seats of power, and I'm gonna talk about what's going on in the news, and I'm gonna talk about, you know, people of significance that are actually, you know, I suppose influencing and changing things to a greater degree. This a lot of the online fighting is desperation because we're in the political off season. When Donald Trump gave his speech the other day, we got something like 1 million viewers on the show. We had 65,000 concurrents, which is what we were getting during political season, if not more. We were doing about 80,000 concurrents at the height of political season. We hit something like 200 or 200 something thousand when during the election night. Got like 5 million views on the show for the election night coverage. It was all day, by the way. Now that we're about to enter the midterm cycle, so we're in this lull, and we're doing about 30,000 concurrents. It's a little bit lower. It's averaging where we normally are, and I'm not crying about it. But there are a lot of people that are desperately trying to drum up drama because they don't know what else to do.
Right.
I'm not playing these stupid games.
Yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't add value, don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are people that, you know, glom onto whatever the topic at hand is. You see a lot of people that are making making a killing, you know, complaining about Israel. And it'll change depending on what really actually, brings in the numbers.
I'll tell you something I saw promising is I was watching these clips. Apparently, these AI video channels are getting demonetized.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't think YouTube was going to do it, but I'm glad they are, and I think it's important to understand. So there's a lot of young people start getting attention because they make fully automated channels. There's AI programs that will create a thumbnail, a script, make images, and then auto upload for you. You do nothing. You literally just go on and click a few buttons, and it'll automatically do it. And they were making 6 figures. Wow. Now I'm hearing that the channels have stopped posting. And the rumor is because YouTube started asking people to flag AI videos. My first thought was not that they're trying to stop AI. They're trying to improve AI videos by figuring out if humans can determine which one is or is not AI. Now it's appearing like a lot of these channels are drying up because they've been demonetized, and now it's no longer profitable to make the slop. And this is good because if slop can be mass-produced, shows like this cease to exist because we can't financially compete anymore. And then YouTube becomes just an AI content platform, which destroys the platform. So it's good news. It's good news. I'm looking forward to hoping we see more of it.
Bright future.
Bright future indeed. We got more news about a bright future. We got this from Gizmodo. Guys, the Avengers Doomsday trailer has dropped. I know most of you have seen it because it's got something like 30 million views since it went up today. And I'm going to tell you exactly why it matters. Chris Evans, standing there accepting Mjolnir from Thor. And what does that mean? It means the last 7 years of woke trash is being erased from the timeline. Robert Downey Jr. introduces the trailer. You got Hemsworth, who is the strong lead, no longer a fat loser like they did in Endgame.
Thank God.
He's a strong man saying, we have fought and we need a miracle. And then Chris Evans shows up. They brought back the big three. They got the band back together because they realized what people liked and what made money was heroism, not weird gender politics and whatever the Marvels.
Not a girl pretending to be a boy.
No, none of that.
No. Look, I'm a mark for a lot of the Marvel movies. The first I forget what they called the first bunch. I thought they were great. You know, they like I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that happened in the multiverse saga and the Infinity Saga. There you go. I thought those were great. I thought a lot of the stuff that was in the multiverse saga that focused on some of the bigger characters were good. I even liked Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Which was there's a lot of people that got down on that.
They actually screwed that up because it was supposed to be released earlier, which is why America Chavez was supposed to be in Spider-Man, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it got all screwed up, but whatever. But I'm glad that they decided to just stop. Yeah. And they brought back the Russo brothers and said, we need to go back to what people actually enjoy. And sure enough, Spider-Man is coming out in 10 days, Thursday previews. We are going to be there. Very excited for this. And they're bringing back Savage Hulk.
Yep.
And Punisher is going to be in it.
Yeah.
But they got to make him PG-13.
Well, I heard that part of the way that they're getting that across is Spider-Man's going to shoot the web into his mouth a few times.
Yes.
Like they cover his mouth.
But it's not just that; it's that Punisher kills people.
Yes.
So,
And-
but I think it's okay. I'm glad to see it. I think that they did that one shot with Punisher to bring him back.
Yeah,
on,
I liked
Disney.
it.
It was good. It was action. I think they could have done a little bit more for the story.
I want to say one thing. Shout out to Hatebreed for "I Will Be Heard" being the song during all of
As he's massacring people.
The slaughter. It was great. Shout out to the boys, Jamie and the boys in Hatebreed.
This is what I'm talking about. When they brought him Captain Marvel, what was happening to our culture was they wanted to create a hero's journey for women. But there already is a hero's journey for women. It just needs to be properly parsed out. The hero's journey is very obvious. You know, the young guy thrust into adventure, aided by magic. There's like 12 steps, but people usually refer to the 3. And that's what we use for all of these movies, the hero's journey. For women, it's the saying that men want to be him, women want to be with him. Women enjoy watching the movies with the guys. Everybody likes seeing the guy save the woman.
Yep.
Women like it, men like it. They make $1 billion. When they inverted it and tried making a movie where it's a woman standing up to the man, it just started to break everything down, and people said, I don't want to watch this. This is weird.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to go back to just entertainment being entertaining and,
Agreed.
and a time to just
Instead of a
tune it
lecture.
out. Yeah. Instead of being beaten over the head with some political agenda on it, just keep the stories to the, what the stories were meant to be.
Yeah.
And make them entertaining.
Well, to Tim's point, like one of the things that you never, or I'm not sure if it was never, but you rarely saw was women in these roles actually failing and struggling. Like a great example is like the Star Wars, like episode 4, 5, and 6, right? Luke Skywalker was not a Jedi in the first one. And in The Empire Strikes Back, he got his ass handed to him over and over and over.
Did he even use the lightsaber in the first one?
No, he didn't. He never used it.
He just wields it the one time when Obi-Wan hands it to him, then he doesn't even use it.
Yeah, and it takes 3 movies, so it's like a full hero's journey. It's not just a hero's journey in the movie, like first act, second act, third act. It was the full 3 movies until he came back in the last one as an actual Jedi, and then you got to see him be cool. But he was whiny in the first one, and he just got beat up in the second one.
And then Return of the Jedi was great.
Yeah.
Luke was an actual Jedi. He's flipping around.
Yeah, it was cool.
He's threatening Jabba.
Yeah.
How fun.
And
it was crazy how long it took. It was years between.
And
now it's like the
You think
sequel
we could
6
even
months
do
later.
that
But you
anymore,
can't,
though?
no, well, you can't do that with a woman. That's part of the problem, right? In the sequels to the Star Wars movies, like with Rey Skywalker and what have you, like she was kicking the bad guy's butt at the end of the first movie. She knew how to fly the Millennium Falcon right away. She just automatically knew how to do this. It was just like right away she had all the powers that she needed. So it's like there's no drama.
The female trope they're creating is it's not enjoyable, and it's the woman was always powerful and the men held her down.
Yep.
That's what Captain Marvel was.
The kind of woman no man wants to marry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one who just knows she's right all the time and needs the man to shut up for once.
Thanks. Thank God I got a good one.
But here's the
love you,
thing.
babe.
There's a reason why there's chick flicks. There's a phrase for chick flick. They make insane amounts of money and women love them. Like my wife loves watching Married to Strangers. Like Love is
The
Blind
Notebook's
stuff.
pretty great. I'm not going to lie. The Notebook's pretty great.
You know what I think did a really, really great job of making a movie for men and women is The Adjustment Bureau. Have you ever seen that one?
I have, but I don't even remember the premise.
This is where Matt Damon is a politician. He loses. And there are these dudes in suits. They're like, supposed to be like angels, I guess, that keep you on your path so that you do what you're supposed to do. He wants to be with this woman, but they keep forcing him down a different path because they want him to be president. And in the end, they find a way to be together. And I was like, I think that combines the passions and ambitions of the man with the woman feeling desired. That made an interesting story that is sci-fi fantasy that I thought was interesting. He puts on a hat and he can open doors that are portals, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then for the women, it's like this woman is his object of desire that he's pursuing, and he's battling angels themselves and fate itself to be with this woman. I'm like, I thought that was a great movie.
I'll have to go back and watch it.
It's a fun movie, and that's how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm not saying it made $1 billion. I think if you actually want to know how you do it, you do what they're doing with Doomsday, and they're like, bring back Robert Downey Jr. This dude just prints money.
Yep. Like I said, I'm excited for this one. I can't wait to see the new Spider-Man movie. I'm excited for the Avengers Doomsday. It looks good in my opinion so far. I've always been kind of partial to the X-Men, so I'm happy that they're bringing the X-Men into the fold here. I think it's gonna be a good movie. Are you gonna go see it?
I don't know if Tim goes.
Yeah, we got tickets, bro. You're coming.
I've only seen like 4 Marvel movies in my whole life.
Really?
Well, you're not gonna. Here's the thing, though. It's like you got to watch every movie because it's like Spider-Man is basically like Marvel 24. Like they may as well call each movie Marvel.
I saw the one where he went into the Washington Monument and then like blew up or something.
That was the first one, wasn't
That
it?
was the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I
remember
definitely
seeing
don't.
that
I'm
one.
definitely not on the timeline. I watch them. My kids like watching them, but I'm not.
It's like Avengers start game, and I'm like,
You know what they've done wrong, and for the love of all, is it holy? Like James Gunn, I can save you. I can save the DC universe. It's crazy because people keep talking about how DC is going for the most obscure and weird superheroes instead of just using the name and I think it's because he's trying to do what Marvel did. Iron Man was not a big popular hero. They need to get back to just telling an individual story. Every movie does not need to be the Avengers.
yeah, because didn't Superman and Batman fight each other in a movie?
Yeah, in Dawn of Justice.
And they got rid of that. They erased all that. They were like, oops, that was bad.
They tied.
Well, you know,
Oh, it was so bad. I know people like it, but it was so bad. First of all, you had Jesse Eisenberg as Lex
Both got
Luthor.
trophies.
Lex Luthor, my favorite depiction of Lex Luthor is the 90s cartoon version where he's like a moral inversion to Batman. He's physically fit, he's strong, smart, articulate, and he's more emotionally selfishly driven than Bruce Wayne is. But he builds a suit of armor and he wants to fight Superman. That's the Lex I like, not this Weasley Jesse Eisenberg version or Nicholas Hoult.
But
DC,
Batman has no chance against Superman. I mean, come on.
That's not true.
he always uses brain.
I mean, outside of Kryptonite,
That's not true.
what can he do? He's a human. Again,
It is well known to everybody in comic book fandom that Batman can defeat any character given enough time.
Yep.
technology is this?
Yes. So for instance, Batman has red solar grenades. So Superman is powered by the yellow sun. So what Bruce Wayne will do is he'll lob a red solar grenade, and the red solar flash will temporarily reduce or.
Okay. I take it. I take it
tons
all
of
back.
things.
I'm
There's
outside
also-
of my depth.
There's also pink kryptonite, which makes Superman gay.
Oh yeah.
It's not a joke.
Is it really?
Yeah, it makes him gay.
Which movie is that one?
It's from one of the comics.
Avoid it. Okay.
Yeah.
Brokeback
And then
Superman?
there's like blue kryptonite makes him hallucinate and see the future or something.
Oh, wow.
The weird radiation effects on him.
Way more than I knew.
And to your point though, Tim, like when DC decides to go with Guy Gardner as the Green Lantern as opposed to Hal, like that.
Oh, but I love it.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. He's far more esoteric than
Dude, was it
Hal.
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah.
I think James Gunn is doing a C- job. I just love DC so much more than Marvel, to be completely honest. Except the MCU has just been leaps and bounds better, and they have failed the DC universe. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I love Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, and I love Guy Gardner as I love that they're bringing him in as Lantern. Because look, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan are two on the nose like Marine Corps hero guys.
Yeah.
Guy Gardner is great.
I'm fairly knowledgeable about comics, DC comics. I'm more knowledgeable about Marvel comics. But like, even I am just like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. But like, I don't know who Mr. Terrific was.
Oh,
I didn't know who he was until
I just love DC so much.
You know?
Mr. Terrific is absolutely fantastic. I love superheroes that are people that applied themselves to give themselves capabilities, right? Iron Man, he's a dick, but he's an industrialist who built a suit of armor to be a hero himself. Batman trains martial arts. He's a great detective, and he has R&D behind it in gadgets. Mr. Terrific is a tech billionaire. His family was killed, and then he becomes like a listless loser, and then is convinced to do something with his knowledge, and so he creates T-spheres and other technology so that he can be a superhero. I love that. I don't need I was born with powers, I'm like, yeah, great. You were just gifted these things,
Well, that's the part of, I guess, the superhero story that, going back to when we were talking about the new Doom, when it's not believable. When Thor's hammer stops with 2 fingers, you're like,
So yeah, in the trailer, it's called power scaling. Because they want to present a threat to the Avengers who are so powerful. If you've seen the trailer, Thor swings Stormbreaker and Doom just stops it with 2 fingers. Like, no, we don't need to do that. That's not good. Doom could have just been fighting with him and then used like his energy blasts to like throw him out of the way or something, indicating he is on par with or potentially stronger than. The two-finger thing basically says Thor is incapable of even
you have no
hurting him at
chance.
all.
And then when you actually do it later on, you're like, okay, one of those is not true.
Right.
It's incompatible.
Like, this is a problem when they introduced Captain Marvel in Endgame, and Thanos headbutts her, and she just smirks. Like, the acting was terrible, the choreography was terrible, and so everybody in the audience, when I watched Endgame, groaned. 2 points. When Thanos headbutts Captain Marvel and she just smirks, like, please no. And then when it did all the women, and they're all lining up, she's not alone. The whole audience went, oh, like, I'm not even kidding. I was in Eastern Maryland. I was near Bel Air, so like just suburbs of Baltimore-ish. Everybody was groaning. No, we don't want that. They're getting rid of it. I wonder how masculine this movie will be. I bet it's going to be like just plumb nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I hope so.
It's going to be.
I'm ready for it.
Plum nuts.
Double plum nuts.
It'll be a return. It's going to be an attempt to a return to what made Marvel great in the first place, like what really set them down the path.
You know what they need to do, to be honest? DC needs to do the Injustice movie. You know what that is? Joker drugs Superman. He's hallucinating and he kills pregnant Lois with his baby.
Oh, that's
then Joker detonates a nuke in Metropolis, killing millions. They catch Joker while he's being interrogated. Superman busts in, chastises Bruce, saying that if you just killed him, none of this would have happened. And then he rips Joker's heart out.
Okay, that's better.
And then they form the Justice Lords and then become dictators of the earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bad start, good ending.
Well, I don't know.
And then they've done a bunch of different versions of this in the same way. They in the video game, it's built on like the same engine as Mortal Kombat. He just goes to Arkham Asylum and begins lobotomizing all of the inmates one by one.
That's a great idea.
Bro, with laser eyes, he just lines them up and they're like, ugh.
I mean, we would fix a lot of problems in the world if we actually started lobotomizing again.
Lobotomizing criminals.
Just having asylums open.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, make asylums great again.
The most compelling stories about Superman are when he goes bad.
Yeah.
You know, because...
Well, did you know about the communist one?
Yeah, where he was
instead of being born in Kansas, he crash lands in the Soviet Union and gets raised as a communist. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah. I love basically at this point, the characters are just beaten to death. There's millions of versions of the same characters.
I mean, they've been around.
Remember when they took his cape away and made him like electricity?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Superman debuted in what, the 40s, was it?
I think it was before that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because he's going to be public domain in a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, the original Superman. I wonder if this means, that's one of Superman's powers early on was the ability to raise his hand and fire from his hand a miniature Superman.
Action Comics #1, April.
He could
18th,
actually fire from his hand a smaller Superman that would go around and do stuff.
Is that culturally appropriate nowadays?
The thing is,
what would you call that person?
Here's what people don't understand. The idea of like the Incredible Hulk or Spider-Man, when we were born, Spider-Man existed. But it was really weird back then. When they tried coming with an idea of a guy who had spider powers, the industry was like, what? He's like, that's stupid. Who wants to be a spider? Like, make him throw fireballs. And they were like, and then Spider-Man became the biggest superhero. Everybody loved him. Swinging around.
Most of the reason people loved him was because they felt like your kids felt like they could relate to Peter Parker, though. It's like the things that make characters interesting is always when the audience or the reader can relate to them. You can't really relate to the superhero part, right? But everybody that was a teenager or a kid felt like they could relate to Peter Parker because Peter Parker was awkward and blah, blah, blah.
This is what accidentally helped with X-Men, is that initially Marvel just didn't want to have origin stories anymore. They were like, we can't write an origin story for every weird person we make. They started calling them mutants. Like, oh, they have powers because they're a mutant, which eventually created this inadvertent arc of mutants and non-mutants. But then what ends up happening is when they explain that in the X-Men universe, around puberty, you develop powers. All of a sudden, little kids were like, oh, man, like, that'd be so cool if I got powers.
Yeah.
And it made this, like, fantasy for like, young boys to go on adventures and imagine that they were superheroes.
Yeah.
So it sells.
And that was back in the good old days where we actually went out and played and used our imagination.
Yeah. Yep.
Sword fights and cops and robbers and Cowboys in India.
Pointing fake guns with caps in them.
Yes.
You put the paper in it and
Or
twist
real
it.
ones.
And
We used to do BB guns and actually got shot right between the eyes.
we didn't do none of that.
Probably don't want to.
No,
I'm not recommending it.
You
I'm
would
just
go to
saying what we did.
listen.
We did some cool
You go to
stuff.
Walgreens or CVS, and they would sell a plastic gun with a reel of little caps, piece of paper with like flint on it.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
And you'd buy that at the store, and you'd wind it up, and you'd aim it and click, and it would snap.
The paper ones were never good. It was always the plastic.
The plastic caps.
Plastics were
like those are
that was
the
way to go.
the moon clips.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
Remember those the moon clip caps?
The paper were just inconsistent. You know.
Yeah, you can get airsoft guns now with like little rubber pellets that are.
Well, they have those gel balls.
Yeah,
But then they get all over the place, and everyone gets all mad.
airsoft guns are all right though.
Yeah.
They also have air balls.
Air balls.
Yeah, you can cock it, and then it shoots like a puff of air at people.
Oh, really?
But long distances.
Yeah.
And they have the hydro balls. You ever see those?
Oh, where they
It shoots a ball of water perfectly. You know?
I haven't seen that.
Evolution.
Air balls are interesting.
Yeah. There's like a video where a guy shoots people with air balls, and they have no idea.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Lasers are pretty crazy now too.
What are?
When I was lasers? When I was a kid, it was
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
couldn't burn anything. Now lasers are like.
Well, those are
shit.
regulated, and they have, you know what a dazzler is? Those are what the military use. They point at your face and click it, and it blinds you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Permanent?
For like 30 seconds. So it's akin to like if you stare at a bright light and then
Right.
you get that temporary spot where you can't see. They flash the lights in your eyes. So they've been doing it in Afghanistan for like 20 years. You pull up to a checkpoint and they'll flash you in the eyes with a laser, so you're blind, and you're like, I can't see anything.
Yeah, we need those at all the riots.
well,
it can cause permanent blindness if they hold it too long.
I got a couple of lasers that'll blind you.
Did you guys hear about the story where like that crypto bro had a black light party, but instead of getting black lights, he got UV lights and fried everyone's eyeballs? Yeah.
No.
And people now have permanent vision damage and their skin's all burned.
Oh no.
And they were like, wait. He bought sterilizing UV lights.
Oh my god.
Because apparently he thought that the high-end black lights, they were like high-end expensive, were better. And he was like, I'm rich. We're going to buy the super expensive ones. And they're not black lights. They were disinfectant lights. So people are like permanent vision damage.
Wow. That's a lawsuit.
Unless you wore your sunglasses indoors at night.
It's a lawsuit, but I mean, if the guy's buying, UV lights that will blind you, it's probably not all that bright, so he probably doesn't have anything to take. Kick it like a stone. So.
Well,
indeed.
Yeah, I don't wear sunscreen, but you might have wanted to on that day.
Yeah, well, your eyes are the bigger issue. You got to cover them up and get some sunglasses.
Apparently, persimmons are really good for that now.
Persimmons?
Yeah.
What is
for
that?
your eyes? I don't know. Everything. I learned all my nutrition facts on Instagram now.
I was told that you have to be careful eating persimmons because they can gum up your system and then cause obstructions.
They taste terrible. I don't know anything else other than they're supposed to.
Don't
trust my health advice.
You know what the worst fruit ever is?
Yeah.
Pears.
Really?
Yeah.
Too much sugar?
I call them sand fruit.
You mean just taste texture wise?
I
actually like the flavor
and
like
texture is just garbage.
It's always the apples at hotels are always really sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah, I don't know
The
why
difference
that is.
between a good apple and a bad apple, it's like two different fruit.
It's the weirdest thing. It's like at hotels, you're guaranteed a sand apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new wave where people are taking kefir and they're freezing a fruit and then you pour a little kefir in there and
and you mix it up and it turns into ice cream.
Yeah, we need to get on that wave.
What's kefir?
Yeah, we should freeze a watermelon.
Yeah.
Well, you
Turns into ice cream.
I call it kefir. Is it kefir?
it's both. It's actually just kefir.
Is it sweet?
Kefir. Yeah. You buy the kefir like Lifeway or whatever it's called,
It's
and then
got
what they do is you take a watermelon, you carve a hole, and then you pour it in, and you just swash it around, and it becomes watermelon strawberry ice cream.
But yogurt, frozen yogurt.
Yeah. Okay. There was a company thing I got an advertisement on, and it was frozen cottage cheese.
Delicious.
Yeah, and he's got like peanut butter and he's got like chocolate chip flavor. The only problem
is good. People don't eat it enough.
Super
Every
good
time you
I
eat
think
it,
the name of it was really bad. Is the
we
problem.
got to rebrand cottage cheese.
Maybe it's a downstate thing, but all my family from Illinois eats cottage cheese with like every meal.
It's really good. I got my wife to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Last year.
I want to give a shout out to this company because I think it's an amazing idea with a terrible name. It's called Smear Case.
It's terrible.
I'm sorry,
It's
bro.
cottage cheese, so they went from bad to worse.
It's amazing because it's super high protein, and I got an advertisement for it, and I wanted to order it, but it's like, how do you order ice cream off the internet?
Yeah, but the name too. It's like, is that what's going to happen in the bathroom?
Bro,
what is?
You can't call it Smear
Need a
Case.
postman with really cold hands.
Froco.
Yeah, call it Froco. Vanilla bean, strawberry, mocha, peanut butter.
Dude,
I think that it's great. It sounds great.
Smear cased in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing good about
Why do we have to go there?
Maybe the
I don't.
case is
I just gotta say, like, with all due respect, I love the idea, and I'm not trying to be a dick because I think it's fantastic, but just who's your marketing? Like, who told you it was a good idea to call it smear case?
Smear case.
It's like he's got a case of the smears, bro. What does that mean?
Froco.
Like, you know what the Hershey squirts are?
Yeah.
Everyone knows what that is.
Gross.
Yeah. Exactly. Gross.
It's smear case.
So it's like you got a case of the smears.
Yeah.
Or it's also like a
bubble guts.
It sounds like
Bubble guts.
this dude's a total smear case. I'll tell you. Like it's a good. You can use it for anything.
Gross.
Yeah.
I'm
You know,
For him, he's a.
I'd love to get some of this stuff. This sounds awesome. It's like ice cream, but it's high protein. Look at 40 grams of protein.
I'm always looking.
Think of the gains, bro.
Yeah. After I quit drinking and everything else, my Achilles heel is still ice cream, and so I'm always looking for ways to.
But that's why when I saw the ad, he was like, "I want a high protein, low sugar snack to eat." And because it's blended, it's got the consistency of ice cream. It's fantastic. And then he was like, "It's called smear case," and I was like, "I still like the idea. I just don't like the branding."
Terrible.
Yeah, that's a bad name.
It's worth the try, but I don't know.
I bet I'd absolutely love it. Strawberry?
Yeah.
Bro, I crack open a cottage cheese, throw some a little bit of strawberry jam, maybe like a teaspoon, mix it all up. Bang. Healthy treat.
I'm a chocolate chip. I'd do vanilla with dark chocolate.
Closest place that I found is in Leesburg.
Where'd they have it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to get some. It's hard to order ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, what do they
get here?
They deliver it with like freezer packs.
Right.
But then you got to go and you got to wait and get it right when it comes.
Right.
Actually,
And a porch pirate steals it.
out towards DC, there's a couple places.
It's pretty wild. Like, it's got distribution all over the place with a name like that.
Yeah, there's in Towson, there's a couple places. It's at Sprouts, the Fresh Market carries it. So there's a couple places out.
Oh, Sprouts has it
in the DC area. Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea.
You got to try
it's
and give it a
fantastic.
review and then recommend a different name.
They got merch too.
I mean, I got an idea. I'm just gonna launch my own.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna call it smear case. I'm gonna call it Froco.
Yeah. Well, they already have Froco on the bottom.
Well, I know, but that's their call. It's Froco. It's not the brand name. It's the item name.
Frozen cottage cheese. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Fropo.
Pro.
O P-O-P-O-O, so it'd be Fropoo.
Just call it like
Fropoo.
cottage ice.
Yeah.
You don't got to call it cottage cheese. You can just call it like high protein ice cream.
Cottage core.
Couple
That's it.
places.
Just make up. You got
Ice
to
cheese.
first. You have to change the name of cottage cheese. We got to rebrand that and then name it after that.
Cottage cream.
Cottage.
Ice cheese.
Cottage cream is not
Cold
bad.
cream.
Cottage,
You know what I don't
cottage
like?
cream is not bad.
Terrible name is clotted cream.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's just butter, isn't it?
Yeah.
But cottage cream,
Clotted.
like I think creamery out in the Highlands of Scotland, that's not bad.
It's like, yeah, he had a cardiac thing. I think it was clotted cream.
Yeah, it's
I
not
can't
good.
remember. He went down.
Smear case.
Smear case.
I don't understand. What does smear mean?
I assume it's like when they're smearing the cheese on.
Yeah, but that's cream cheese.
Right.
A schmear.
So it's not.
And it's Jewish, isn't it?
Schmear? Schmear. Oh,
Kinda
schmear's
sounds
Yiddish,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what is smear case? What is this name? They could have called it like dumb box.
One's leveling a.
Like
That was
Any-
like that was like the original, like people, New Yorkers are really just people that moved to New York and they like want to like show that they're a New Yorker, so they'll say like bodega, and it's like the original version of that was people saying, oh yeah, can I do schmear and lox on my bagel, please? I'm like, dude, we're goys here, just cream cheese and salmon, like drop the. But that was like the OG version of bodega. It's like, dude, it's a corner store. Relax. We're not Puerto Rican.
I don't speak Spanish, so.
It is funny when I went to New York and I walked into a bodega and I looked at the bread box and I just said, "Can I get the roast beef sub with cheddar?" And the guy went, "What?" I said, "Can I get a roast beef sub with cheddar?" And he goes, "We what is that?" And then I was like, "That right there." And I pointed at the hero and he goes, "You want a hero?" And I was like,
Dude.
okay.
They did that to me at Subway. They refused.
Like Subway exists in New York, dude. You know what a sub is?
Yeah, they
Playing
wouldn't let me
games.
use the word white bread. He made me say Italian bread. He's like, we don't have white bread. You mean Italian bread? I'm like,
Yeah, the
sure,
white bread
whatever.
that you carry that you call Italian.
You should have just went, "No, that's French bread." That French bread is way better.
Yeah.
It's like
Italian.
Takeaway or to stay? I'm like, do you mean for here to go? Freaking idiot. It's America.
It's all of them.
Take away. What is this? The UK?
Yeah,
You're
Literally.
gonna point me to the loo?
oh
Huh?
my God.
The lift? To state your flat?
all of them have become cults. It's like if you don't use our terminology or vocabulary, you're not in our club.
Oh, dude, Charlie, he's like does he say Rotary? What's the Massachusetts thing they say?
Yeah, it's a Rotary.
What is
I'm
that?
like, what?
What is
It's a
that?
club. That's different.
The Rotary Club.
Yeah, that's no, that's for a roundabout. That's what people in Massachusetts.
Wait, he calls roundabouts rotaries?
What do you call it?
They call bubblers. You know what a bubbler is?
Yeah.
You monster.
Did you call it that growing up?
Yep.
What do you call it?
Rotary.
Rotaries?
And then you call
You know what a bubbler is?
bubblers?
Water fountain.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. Humps. I like humps. Speed humps.
Oh, I could get by.
Well, we say both because in Chicago you had the big humps and the small bumps, so they were different. Yeah.
I saw the first time I saw humps was in England. I was like, I like that.
I stayed at this guy's house in California. So there are a couple skateboarders from Chicago, me and my buddy, and then two guys from I think it was Louisiana. And so we're hanging out at his house, and I open up his fridge and I see he's got a bunch of sodas, and then I was like, "Hey, bro, can I get a pop?"
Oh, no.
And he goes,
No pop.
He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Can I have a pop?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" And then I said, "Can I have a pop?" And one of the fridges like, "I don't know what you're talking about, dude." At that moment, one of the Louisiana guy goes, he's like, "Hey, can I get a Coke?" And he goes, "I don't have Coke." And he goes, "Yeah, you got a bunch." He's like, "No, I don't." And then I laughed and I was like, "A soda." And he was like, "Yeah, bro, you can have soda." And then, see, in the South, they call all sodas
Everything's a
Cokes.
Coke.
Yeah.
So he was just like, "What is happening?" He's from California.
Yeah.
He's like, "What is pop?" And I was like, "We call it pop in Chicago.
Yeah.
Soda pop."
Yeah. Family in Ohio is the same way.
The fact that everything is called Coke in some places
Yeah, that's
is weird.
weird
To me.
That's weird.
You know, I mean, it's like, I get it, you know, Band-Aids and
Kleenex.
Yeah, but like still, like everything is a Coke. That's just,
That's weird how that happens.
yeah.
An orange Coke.
Yeah, no, that's
Big mog to
it's an orange
Pepsi for
soda.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's
So in the South, when they want a Sprite, they say a Coke. How did they differentiate?
I mean, I guess, I don't know if they still do, but yeah.
Or they just only want Cokes, and
They go, "You want a Coke?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a Sprite."
Oh, that's weird.
That's the sad thing is anyone under 40, by and large, has lost their regional accents. Like someone from Jacksonville and someone from Seattle will talk the exact same. If you're
Non-regional diction.
because of the
You know what really irks me though is when people like, I was hanging out, I was playing poker as I do, right? Every story I'm going to tell you, and it was in Vegas, and I was doing joking mobster accents periodically. I was like, "Oh, geez, he's bringing in the flush here," and then the guy goes, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Chicago," and he goes like, "Oh, I couldn't place that accent," and I was like, "I don't have an accent." He goes, "Yeah, you do," and I was like, "Bro, do you mean when I was like doing a 1920s joke where I was like, yeah, he's bringing in the," like I was just goofing off? You thought that was an actual accent?
from a radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's the diversity that is our strength. The old school regional
accents,
diversity.
yeah.
they're all
not
so
the
sad.
crap we have now.
It's so sad that like
Shipping
all
in
the
people.
regional differences are gone and now we're just one big monolith. Like, I mean, I'm from Memphis. I don't have any Southern inflection in my voice. Like,
No, you just have crime.
Well, the
Crime and bad
you know what it is
barbecue
no one in Chicago ever talked like the SNL skit. Maybe
bears.
yeah, that's not a real thing. I've never met a single person in my life who said Chicago. That's never been pronounced that way. And I've never met someone who's ever said the Bears or garage door openers. It's just not a thing. They don't talk like this. And the funny thing is, people don't understand that that's a joke. And so if I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm from Chicago," and I'm like, "We got hot dogs," I'm like, "Yeah, Chicago," you know what I mean? Like, as a joke. And then they'll go, "Oh, it's funny how you have an accent." And I'm like, that's a joke. That's
A bit.
an SNL skit. Nobody talks that way. Now, in Boston, they actually do talk that way. And in Brooklyn, they actually do talk that way. You go to Chicago, you know what? You know what accent you're going to hear? Hello, hola, mi amigo.
Yeah,
That's the
it.
accent.
The takeover.
And Polish.
Yeah, the replacement.
I do like the Dallas accent. You know, it's like, hello, sorry,
That's Plano, and
that's
now it's Dallas too.
Plano
Unfortunately,
dialect. Sorry, please do not do that.
That's
Yeah.
McKinney, unfortunately.
Sorry, please.
that is interesting though about Chicago because I always assumed, based I guess on the stereotypes, that Chicago did have an accent. I always connected it to like the New York, Boston, but it's all because of that.
A lot of those guys kind of have like a bit of a distinct accent. I don't know. Maybe it's just a general Midwestern accent.
Is Harrison Ford actually from Chicago?
Like, Minnesota has an overlap with the Canadian.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
you know?
right.
Or not, you know?
Yeah.
Oofda. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
My whole life in Chicago, I've never met someone who said Chicago.
Yeah.
Never. Not one time. Even old people. Nobody said Chicago. And there are people who genuinely believe that's the Chicago accent, like the dialect. It's not a real thing. It's not real.
It's all right.
Nobody says garage door openers.
Psyop.
I'm glad we got that figured out.
Yeah, it was. I think it was because what happened is they're making fun of the way Mike Ditka talked.
Yeah.
And he talked like a weirdo. And so then people just came to believe that everyone in Chicago talked like Mike Ditka.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know they turned Ditka's restaurant into an illegal shelter.
Oh, what?
During Biden's time, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
His restaurant shut down, and they had illegals living right up above it.
That is just...
And now the Bears are gone. I don't know.
Yeah, the Hammond Bears. Yep.
Are they officially? Oh,
the Hammond Bears.
Hammond Bears. Is that going to be? That's going to be this season then, right?
I don't know.
No, it'll take
it's
him
the
a
end
few
of an
years
era,
to
my
build
friends.
this.
It's the end of a dream.
Can you believe how terrible Johnson has to be to allow that to happen? And the state, Illinois.
I mean, Hochul somehow kept the Bills in Buffalo.
To be that worthless. And these people think they're going to be the president. Pritzker thinks he's going to be president. It's like Newsom in California with the rail. The guy's destroyed our state, and they think they're going to be president.
We're going to go to your Rumble rants and Super Chats, so smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you've ever met in your life. And the uncensored portion's coming up in about 10 minutes. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be hot fun. Omega Rosetsu says, Phil, you are wrong. Kamala's mother and father were Marxists. She is a Marxist LARPing as a moderate and is not smart about it.
I literally said her parents were Marxists.
Yeah, you did say that, I think.
Communism. Little John says, no, Ian, I can actually listen to this one without the conversation devolving into drugs and drug-induced psychosis. Phil, you're the ish.
Thank you.
Is that the?
What?
You said there was Little John or Little Wayne?
It's just someone's name, Little John. Stephen Bomar says, in keeping with Timcast tradition, my wife and I are waiting in the hospital for our fourth baby.
Hey,
Charlie Kirk.
There we go.
Tell Tate his X account is made and he is ready to start posting.
We need more American-loving babies. We gotta out baby the haters.
Welcome to the world, little patriot. I'm glad he already has his X account. That solves my job for it. So just start posting. You get after it. I know they've ruined the UI, but like you can still push through and put your big fat baby fingers on there.
I don't see the problem.
Max says, votes by how much taxes you pay is brilliant. Either the left has to admit the rich pay a lot in taxes, or the rich pay more taxes to increase the value of their vote. It's a win-win. Yeah, and so my thought is, like, you're right that people in New York are going to pay higher. They're going to pay more federal taxes because they make more for their standard of living. But when you factor in that most taxes are paid by the top 20%, I think more than half, the top 20% are basically just in control of everything.
I would just love to see these freaks, blue-haired freaks, just melt down after they want to eat the rich, and now it's actually giving the rich more power, more influence, because they actually are the ones that create the jobs.
Better idea. Paying taxes is optional. And we multiply your vote by your tax.
Dude, again, Republicans would get wiped out. We're the ones like advocating to abolish like property taxes.
Wait,
I guarantee
hate paying taxes. I would all be like,
no, needs to go.
Liberals would stop paying taxes outright.
Because then you never actually own anything.
Republicans want to cut taxes.
Liberals would stop paying taxes outright. I guarantee you, you go to any lib in the city and say, would you like to keep all your tax money? They'll say yes.
They literally just voted in Los Angeles to raise taxes.
On other people. They want to steal it from other people.
Their own taxes, too.
But the people that can leave are also leaving.
Communists don't actually want to share their wealth. They want to steal it from other people. If given the choice, they would not pay one penny.
That's Republicans, too. Republicans.
I agreed. Nobody would pay taxes.
Nobody wants to pay taxes.
It's great.
I'm saying if you gave Republicans the option not pay taxes, they would take that in a heartbeat.
Sure.
Well, yeah.
So
That's
would
why
liberals.
they're trying to cut property taxes.
So would liberals.
Yeah, because we don't.
And then only the people who want to control the system would be paying taxes to try and get their votes more weight.
That's effectively like the system we already have in many ways.
I actually think Republicans would start paying more taxes.
No, there's no way.
Yep.
There are some.
If your vote was multiplied by every tax dollar.
Republicans are voluntarily like undercutting their own political power by abolishing property taxes.
So look, the Republicans would pay more taxes if it gave them more power in the government, because it's better to pay a higher rate of tax and get rid of things like red tape, like get rid of the government being involved in everything, regulations and stuff, because then you can go from idea to actual production of whatever product it is far faster, and you can make more money. I really do think that Republicans that especially high net worth people, they would love to pay an extra 5% if that meant there were fewer regulations and they could produce more.
Well, that might be true in that situation. I'm just saying, like right now when the chips are down, if Republicans have the option of more political power or higher taxes or lower taxes, they always take the lower taxes. That's why you've seen the property tax abolition, which just like screws over counties.
But if you could do both, then it's all hypothetical. But the biggest issue, you talk about when you're paying those taxes, it's the percentage of the tax. So if you're paying 15%, I'd pay 20% if you had certainty in decision making. The biggest problem that business owners have is these 4 years, I'm going to be paying this rate and I'm going to have these regulations. 4 years from now, I have no clue what's going to be thrown at me. If there was some certainty in the market that said, hey, if based on your involvement in this process, you were going to have more say in it, I think it would
because that's
even
why,
out
like,
across the board.
We should be focusing the other way. We should want to like defend property taxes and attack income tax, because income tax is where you can't guarantee where your money's going. Property tax, you know exactly where it's going.
I think I like flat tax on income tax or something based on consumption. But the thing with property tax to me is the fact that I will never actually own that thing, that the government can always come and take it from me.
That's like a natural rights argument. I mean, then in theory, you don't own your labor. You don't ever own an item if you're paying any tax on it. Like that's not, you're paying for the upkeep of your surrounding community. That's what assigns property value by and large to your house, is how nice your community is. Like people in Detroit, their property taxes are super low.
Right.
Because this is a dump.
The schools suck and everything else.
The schools suck, et cetera. Where it's like property tax, it's like the one thing where you're actually like, this pays for the police, this pays for the fire department, this pays for the schools. And if you get rid of it, then like if you live in a blue state like California or Virginia, you're cooked. Because if you live in a red county, now the police controlled by Richmond, now the fire department and schools are all controlled by Richmond or Sacramento, and so you're just like cooked. Where I think that we should be attacking the income taxes. Florida and Texas have already gotten ahead of that, but even at the federal level, like, yeah, I mean, we have options that are disposed. But I'm like, the property tax is just gonna shoot us in the foot.
Let's grab this. The Fallen 501st says, mutant powers sound cool till you're the kid whose power is incinerating all human life in a 3-mile radius unconsciously, and Logan is the only one who can put you down. Indeed. And then there's one mutant who has the power to explode. That's it. Just one time, he can blow up.
It's like a bee. One sting.
Yeah. And so he just doesn't do anything. And then there's a new character they introduced a few years ago called Forget-Me-Not. No one can remember him, and any record of existence is destroyed immediately upon turning away from him. And so this fills a bunch of plot holes. So they're like, there's a mutant, he's an X-Man, and Charles Xavier knows he exists because he created a psychic, like a psychic, force in his mind that every 2 hours keeps refreshing in his memory the existence of this guy. So you're looking at him, and he tells you, here's what I'm going to do, and when you look away, he just doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So he's like he's the Deus Ex Machina for the Marvel comics, to be like, oh, well, that was because Forget-Me-Not was there the whole time. Yeah.
You lost me on that one, but I like that you like it.
All right, let's grab a little bit more. A little bit more.
I never got into comic books.
Yeah,
I collected them for a while, but
I think they're interesting, but
more for the value, the potential future value.
Yeah.
Quantum Strange Quark says, everyone please get out and vote in the midterms. The choice is simple, communists or Republicans.
This is this is my whole argument. I've got friends of mine I grew up with that are going all the anti-Israel stuff and all this focused on Epstein. And I'm like, guys, you realize the alternative. I get it. You're not happy. I think Bondi screwed up on the Epstein thing. I don't agree with everything that Israel does, but I believe in them over jihad. But ultimately, it's what's the alternative? You're going to give it back to the people that invited open borders, invasion of our country, that want to transgender your children, that want to everything that want to communize our country or jihad our country. That's what you're giving it back.
I'm with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Any celebrity that comes up, I say, oh, just actually, Bill Maher is further right than me on a lot of issues. And that's the funny thing, though, because he's the long-standing liberal. Well, it's actually because he hates Trump. If you hate Trump, you're a liberal. That's it. So Bill Maher can have like further right issues on some of the things that I believe, and I'll be called right-wing because I'm like, yeah, Trump's not that bad. Right. And he'll be called liberal because he's like, I hate Trump. That's the defining thing of left and right these days. I actually just think it's, if you're correct about what's going on in the world, you are right-wing. And if you are wrong or lying, you are left-wing. That's it.
But there are some people that are not correct that are still in the right-wing camp that need to wake up, that are clickbaiting and grifting. But
yeah, but, I mean mainstream right.
Yeah.
Like you're paying attention to what's actually happening in the world. You have a generally a good idea of it. I would say that most of the people on the left don't actually do any research in anything.
Yeah.
And like these, the story about Trump and like the fraud cases and the felonies and all that. It's just all nonsense when you actually look at the court proceedings. But liberals don't read any of this stuff. They just believe it's true. They just say, well, Trump's a felon. And you're like, yeah, for not directing Cohen to do anything. It's the craziest story.
You have to throw good versus evil in there too, though. And there's just a lot of evil people.
Indeed.
Out there.
All right. Richard Slammer says, you can't call yourself real comic book fans if you say that one of the most egregious tropes of the past 15 years of comics, evil Superman, is a good thing. I don't understand.
They don't
the first
like that
sentence.
you liked Evil Superman.
They're good stories, dude. They're just stories.
It was a parallel.
Not real, man.
It was a parallel
It's not
universe
real.
story, and then in Justice League they go to that universe where the Justice Lords are in power. I don't think they show Superman ripping out Joker's heart, but they go to that universe, and then Batman's like, "We got to stop this," and and then they do, because they're like, "We care about." So the Justice Lords are like, "We found another dimension where you guys have not purified, and so we're gonna come and take over." And then Superman wears white, and he's like, "You're all gonna get locked up. Lock them up. You got to do it. You got to do it." Let's grab a couple more here. Eric Shaver says Nick Fuentes used to have a Chicago accent. Yeah, well, the dude's from the suburbs. I don't, and maybe.
Was that an accent?
He does kind of sound like he might have one.
I think everyone of that age, like my generation, we just emulate Trump. Like I think more of that can be explained by just kind of idolizing Trump.
Made up accents.
And I'm going to stress this too. The area that Nick grew up in was about 2 miles from me, and I used to hang out there all the time. I used to hang so this is like the countryside area, LaGrange. So it was a couple miles away from where I grew up. Jimmy Dore is from a few blocks away from where I grew up, and Nick Fuentes is from like 2 miles away from where I grew up, and Seamus Coughlin is from like a mile from where I grew up. Is something in the water?
I heard
I guess
something in Coughlin. I did hear something in Coughlin.
Coughlin?
Yeah.
What was his name? Coughlin.
There's a little bit of accent in there.
Seamus Coughlin. I can call him Coughlin.
Well, and Charlie. I mean, Charlie. I wouldn't say had an accent.
And Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, he didn't.
Let me just. He's from Arlington Heights.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, to be fair, Charlie wasn't super close. He's like 15 miles away from where I grew up. But again, I want to stress.
Close enough.
Seamus, Jimmy Dore, me, and Nick Fuentes are all from the same like 2 miles.
Isn't the Pope from around there too?
I don't think he's from where we are. He's from Chicago.
Like
Would there-
Cicero,
would there-
is he-
Chicago.
He's
Are
from
there
Cicero, I
difference in
He's from
in
Cicero?
I
accents?
believe so, right?
Oh, okay. I mean, that's actually like a mile or two from us. Yeah. Wow.
Are there differences
Pope.
in accents in that small of geographic change?
No.
Yeah.
There's no accent anywhere.
I mean, like New York. You go to New York, 2 mile radius. It's not going to change.
Nope. You can drive 30 miles south, 20 miles north. Everyone talks the same.
Yeah.
There's
They get
nobody
across to
talking like
Jersey.
this. Hey, Richard, you got to fix the grace door. The grace door open. That was a joke. That was never
there is
real.
that one comic, Maniscalco, Sebastian Maniscalco. I think it's just an Italian thing, maybe. It's just the Italians in Chicago.
That's
talk like
that. It's got to be the
'Cause
Italians.
he has like a very distinct accent, but it's more like an Italian accent.
But that's what I mean. It's like the joking mobster.
Yeah, that's it.
Talking like this.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. No, that's the only.
Come on.
yeah, I was like, he's from Chicago. He's from Arlington Heights, Maniscalco.
Yeah.
So
Hey, we're gonna go to the uncensored portion of the show. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone in your life.
I can tell you guys about the bathrooms.
We'll talk all about it. So you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We're going to be live at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Ben, you want to shout anything out?
God bless America. God bless
Let's go.
ice. Where's my ice hat? God
So
bless
true.
ice.
God bless Iron Man.
Yeah.
God bless ice. Where can people find you?
At Ben Berquam, at Real AM Voice. My website's frontlineamerica.com. You can get my book, Step Into Fear. Pre-order it now. Officially, September 8th will be out in shelves.
I love it.
Yeah.
Will you tell us about the carpet shoes in the after show too?
Yeah. And I'll bring out the other stuff in my
got a
bag.
bunch of
But I
crazy
can't
stuff
talk
in the
about the
uncensored
bag
portion.
that's down
Yeah,
below
he's
the
got
table.
The bag
Stay
of tricks you
tuned.
guys have to get in there. Yeah, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown, and we'll be back tomorrow at noon on the Timcast Rumble for the noon live. So come hang out tomorrow.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. You can check out my stuff on Patreon. That's also Phil That Remains. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Carter.
What's up, everyone? I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere, at Carter Banks Official everywhere else. Ben, we did have to take away half your arsenal at the beginning of the show for YouTube, so the after show is going to be pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff that we can get into that we, couldn't otherwise. So let's do it.
And
We will see.
I forgot Law and Border on Real America's Voice.
Right on. We'll see you all over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL right now for the uncensored portion of the show. Thanks for hanging out.